All right. What's going on, family? Peace and shalom. Peace and shalom. It's your brother DivineProspect, spokesman of Kingdom Harbinger Ministries. We back in the building. What's going on? I know we wasn't live last Friday, but we did our Sunday special on Halloween and went in. Interestingly enough, I looked at the analytics on that. Didn't really get a lot of views, which I thought was interesting. And it's probably because it hurt a lot of feelings of the people that do watch this channel, but it's okay, right? At the end of the day, it's all about conveying the truth to the people, being that watchman, right? Watching the sword, you know what I'm saying, coming through the land and in the community and just blowing a trumpet, you know. If you decide that Halloween is for you, that's your business, you know what I mean? But if you identify as an Israelite, you have your own culture, right? You don't have to co-opt it. You don't have to compromise, you know, and say, oh, it's for the kids. And no, if this is your culture, it's your culture. If your culture is not this and you do something else, that's your business, right? But if you're going to call yourself a quote unquote believer, if you're a Christian or an Israelite, then that's not your way of life. That's somebody else's culture, right? Then the question will come up about how can we lay ownership to this reconstructed and restored ancient pre-Israelite culture. See, it's a difference, right? We don't practice Second Temple Judaism here. We don't, right? We don't practice Second Temple Judaism. What we do practice is the ethnic culture of the people group called Israel during the pre-exilic time period in the ancient Near East. So what does that consist of? Looking at the time period going from 2250 BCE all the way into 587 BCE. That collective corpus of time is what we are reconstructing so we can restore it back to our people. Now, there were several developments that occurred during that period of time, right? Several migrations that happened, several major events, you know, geographical locations changed via migration, etc. However, there was a common thread in regards to that common culture that the people maintained and possessed, right? And there's tons of academic work, articles and books that have been written on this particular subject matter. And I think that most people want to chase the religion and not the culture, right? When you chase the religion, anybody can join and be a part of it. When it's the culture, it's different. You have to give up your old self and envelop yourself into this new culture. How do we know that? Well, very simple. When we go to Deuteronomy chapter 29, and I'm going to start off with this, you know, just going to go and talk, we freestyling, right? But I'm going to start off with this. Let's get Deuteronomy chapter 29. I want to show you something real quick, all right? Let me grab this real quick. And we're going to touch on a couple of things on tonight, but I want to start off with this. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 29, and we're going to start reading this real quick. We're going to start at verse 10, and I read this verse a lot. For those of you who follow, you should know where I'm getting at. Those of you who are new, welcome to the channel. Thank you for joining. As you're coming on in, make yourself comfortable, get yourself something to drink, something to eat. Enjoy this edutainment on tonight, all right? Hopefully, you know, you're unfamiliar with what this channel is about, and we're about to shock you in a good way with some information that you probably have never been exposed to in your life, but that's okay. It's not designed to harm you or hurt you. It's designed to heal you and edify you, all right? But you have to allow the process to happen, and that's the key thing. The process is ugly. The victory is beautiful, but the process is ugly. And the problem is people don't want to get ugly when it's time to get ugly. The truth is ugly. And it only becomes beautiful when you allow it to transform you. But the process is ugly. You know why? Because most of us have been living a lie all this time. So the truth is designed to make you uncomfortable. The truth is designed to put you on steady ground. But the truth is designed to rescue you. But a lot of times when we're in panic mode, we resist the rescue. And I use this example all the time. A lifeguard. When a person is out too deep in the water and they panic because somebody says shark or something like that, right? And then they're flailing all crazy, panicking. And that's the thing. Whenever you are in deep water, don't panic. They tell you it all the time, but that is not a natural instinct. Not to panic has to be something you have to use discipline for, self-control. It takes effort, training, and discipline in order for you to stay calm in a very perilous situation, right? However, most people do not handle the truth that they're out in deep waters is potential danger, but they don't realize that they may have the capability to swim. But when you panic, you lose all of that. Instinctively, you're flailing and you're fighting against the natural environment that you think is there to destroy you. This is something that we've developed over time as a people, right? When I say people, I'm talking about quote unquote human beings, right? In the realm of our development and existence and evolution. So with that being the case, a lifeguard sees that you're out there in danger, right? The truth is you're in danger. You possibly can save and help yourself, but you're not aware of that in that moment. So what happens is the lifeguard is the truth, and the lifeguard comes out there to rescue you. And guess what happens? You fight against the lifeguard. Why? Because you're not thinking about the person that's there to rescue you. You're thinking about the circumstance. And that's the problem. We lose focus. The truth sometimes can catch us unawares where we're in trouble, we're in peril, we're in danger, but it's there to redeem us. But it's not a pretty sight, because when people look from afar, it looks like a fight is going on in the water. And all it simply is the lifeguard trying to save somebody who is panicking. And it's not until that person is brought onto dry ground and maybe may need some kind of medical attention or whatever, but once they're revised and restored, a lot of times they may be grateful towards the person that rescued them. A lot of times they're not even thinking about that. Don't realize that the fact that you was in that water struggling, now you made it on the shore, it was because somebody put their life on the line to do that. When we disseminate this truth across this YouTube channel, we're giving a lot of potent information to teach our people the number one thing that is a threat to the establishment that has measures in place to oppress us. Now, this is not me talking as a conspiracy theorist. This can be validated by the United Nations. I went over this with you guys before, right? They send a group of experts, right, who work under the office of the Human Rights High Council or High Commission, and they sanction them to go and examine what the United States is doing in regards to people of color, or in that program called the International Decade for People of African Descent. And as a subdivision of African descent, we are Israelites identified as a tribe. And us being over here in the Americas, and the fact that they are not implementing any of the suggested measures from the Durban resolution that was concocted in order to address issues of recognition in regards to who we are as a people, justice for anything that's happened to us that is injustice, and also for establishment of our identity as a people holistically, educationally, culturally, financially, politically, etc. And the U.S. is not putting in all the measures that are being suggested. Some other nations are actually, but the U.S. is not. And when the working group of experts for people of African descent came over here and did an investigation in the U.S., this is what they concluded. So when you hear somebody over these internet waves telling you the most dangerous thing you can do as a people when you're under oppression from a society that is designed to profit off of you, to oppress you, your poverty is there by design. People profit off of poverty. That's why you can't get out of poverty. People profit off of your ignorance. That's why you're in poverty. People profit off your lack of identity. People profit off the lack of your political voice and power. I say this all the time. You only protest when you're powerless. When you have power, you negotiate because you have leverage. So I'm saying this because once you tell people that the final solution for us is autonomy, self-governance over our own social affairs, and that we have the power and ability to do it because who we are innately as a people, and the fact that we have this knowledge of who we are to go back into the depths of that culture that we've been separated from for hundreds of years, over 1,000, almost 2,000 years, we've been separated from this culture, and we have been put in a foreign land that's not our own, and we're suffering from the consequences of the action of others and our ancestors. Because when you pray or put up an appeal before the patron deity, you must ask the deity to forgive the sins of your forefathers. Scripture says that he will visit the iniquity of the fathers unto the children up into the third and fourth generation. That means the consequences of the actions of the parents. If a child does not wake up and identify, acknowledge that these things are happening and turn from it, they will also suffer those penalties and consequences. and you tell these people the truth about what this situation is that they're in, restore the culture back to them, which is indigenous culture. And once they have that indigenous culture that their forefathers and foremothers had when they were in their sovereign capacity in the land, and you say, with this knowledge, you become a more close-knit community. You'll be able to remove the barriers that have separated us from years and the fratricidal warfare we've waged on each other by means of those who are profiting off of these battles and skirmishes. And then you say, become a more close-knit community, rely on each other. How do you resolve doctrinal differences? Well, you get to the core root of societal ills that you all experience, sans your doctrinal differences, and you work solutions. And if I have a solution for this societal ill that you're experiencing, even though we have this doctrinal difference and you have the same on your end, then obviously we're willing to compromise so that way we can benefit from each other. And then over time, through that relationship, those doctrinal differences will dissipate. Once you get to that point and we realize that together we have everything we need in our culture in order to edify, build ourselves up, and to have that theocratic mindset to establish cultural mandates that position us into a place of leverage or power, because Deuteronomy 28 verses 1 to 14 deals with the blessings or the benefits you get when you are back into your culture. And then it goes into the consequences when you leave that culture. Let's take the word blessings and curses out the way, because people get spooky over that. Benefits and detriments. Benefits and detriments. The benefit is if you're engaging your culture, look how you can benefit off of this. We know that that is true because the Jewish community, the Orthodox Jewish community, they stick together cohesively. They have leverage. They have cultural mandates. They know how to come to the table even with disagreements. If there's an attack on one, it's an attack on all. You cannot come in here into that community and decide you're going to set up shop and have your own business as a black man selling ham sandwiches. That's not going to happen. You're going to say, this is America. Yeah, this is America. But why are you in here? This is our place. And you try to go ahead and call whoever you want to call over here and see if they're going to allow you or help you to put whatever you're trying to put up in our community. It's not going to happen. Black community is the most exploited community in any ethnic community here in America. The most exploited. And there's no other country you can reach out to say, hey, help. We say Africa, yeah. But Africa as in what? Because we are not the sole descendants of one tribe. If you know the history, especially here in Americas now, in the Caribbean islands, my brothers listen to Caribbean, that's a little bit different. It wasn't a lot of mixing in there with the slave master and the slaves and all of that. But in America, those of you who are here in America, that's what our ancestors had to suffer from and experience. I know I'm not 100% African. I know that. I'm about 75%. The other 25% is all mixed up, right? So the point I'm trying to make is when you give up people back their culture and the culture sets the parameters and boundaries for the do's and don'ts that is allowed and disallowed so that they as a people can come together and reap the benefits of coming under that cultural mandate to establish who they are as a people, to lift up the reputation of the patron deity that provided them with that theocratic system, that wherever you are in captivity, if you do these things, you will be restored and your fortunes will be restored. That's in Deuteronomy chapter 30. If you turn back to me and keep all these commandments that I tell you, then your fortunes will be restored while you're in the land. See, y'all not looking for that. See, y'all have the same mentality that Black Christians had in the antebellum South. And that was, well, I'm going to wait till y'all takes me up out of here. And all the while, you just let anybody just come in and lay with you and just give up the thing that is precious that Yah has given you, which is your soul. That's why Yeshua said, what would a man give in exchange for his soul? They know how to get us to sell out. All this is leading somewhere. It's something else I want to talk about shortly. But all this is leading somewhere. But the key thing is if you're not enveloped in the culture and willing to give up who you were previously in order to envelop in a culture, you cannot come into covenant with the Creator. And if you're not in covenant to Creator, then you can't benefit for the things that is part of the byproduct of the covenant and or the contractual agreement between the two parties, the greater and the lesser, which you being the lesser. You cannot benefit from that. You cannot call out to this Creator deity and you're not keeping the covenant or the contractual agreement. But other listening things are out there that will attend to those needs. They'll address them for you. Now, I'm not going to get into the subject matter whether There's an ontological existence of supernatural entities and so forth. That's controversial. Some people are strictly humanist and they don't believe in that element. Some people are believe in the divine. And we've seen that that's been the way that mankind has thought for hundreds of years, thousands of years, tens of thousands of years in regards to the existence. I've always believed that there's another world out there. However, now we have the rise of absolute atheism, right? Which believes that none of that is real. Everything is based on random occurrences that occur. So things happen randomly, and from the random, it became ordered. But because randomness is a part of the ordered world, then randomness must happen again in order to bring forth order. See, those who are in power, they understand this concept, right? Random chaos, structured order. It's a balance, dualism. Can't have one without the other, right? So the key thing is, if we are going to step outside of that and engage in something that will give us the leverage, power, and authority we need to have our fortunes restored, so when we're exited out of here, we're leaving with great wealth. You see, everything goes back to the Exodus. See, I don't think y'all thinking about the preparation stage, building your Goshens, so when the judgment happened, you're not touched or affected by the things that's going on in society because you have your own communal networks wired together, right? So if something happens, food shortage, okay, we already got a network going with transporting food. Say the US dollar crashes and tanks, that's fine. We got community currency. Somebody gets sick, we have our own naturopathic doctors, right? Somebody needs to give birth, we have our own doulas and midwives, right? Kids need to be educated, we got our own homeschooling systems and programs going on. School system gets tanked or whatever the case may be, that's not going to affect us. You allow y'all to judge and you hold your ground while he's judging. It's the uncomfortable truth, right? So Deuteronomy chapter 29, right? You have to lose your culture to gain Yah. The Israelites, when they was in Misraim or Kemet or Egypt, had a whole different way of living. That doesn't mean that they lost all of their previous culture. They still had maintained that. We know that through the archaeological excavation done by Manfred Beatect and what we would call biblical Goshen, they call it Avaris. They still maintain a lot of their, Levantine culture. They still maintain a good amount of it, right? However, it was not ordered and structured in order for them to be a nation, a sovereign people. So they had to give up the mindset of Misraim. And that was one of the greatest struggles when they were in the wilderness. Keep in mind what I'm saying. Moshe was taken out of Egypt for 40 years. He lived in Midian. 40 years, a totally different lifestyle than the first 40 years of his life being raised in Egypt. That all he lost all 40 years of that being in the wilderness for another 40 years, and he was called at the age of 80 to redeem his people. He lost everything that Egypt had. It was gone. However, the people he was rescuing, they were still suckling the breast milk of Egypt. They had Stockholm syndrome. They didn't want to let go of Egypt. Even though they complained that they were being oppressed, they were redeemed out of the oppression, and they had their mind stayed on their past lives in Egypt. Oh, when we was in Egypt, at least we had this and at least we had that. Most I said, okay, I'm going to give you manna and quail. Oh, when we was in Egypt, at least we have this and that. They got the men of complaint and not the fruit of righteousness or the fruit of their labor. They got the men of complaint, not the fruit of their labor. Say fruit of righteousness, but fruit of their labor. And that's the problem with our people. Our people are so intertwined into this society because they don't know how to be autonomous. They go out there and they practice Halloween. They're going to go and practice Thanksgiving this month. They're going to go practice Christmas in December. They're going to go practice New Year's Day on January 1st. Then they're going to go practice Martin Luther King Day. What is Martin Luther King Day doing for our community? What is it? He wanted his people out of that burning house that was on fire before he died. If they really want to do something for us, get us up out of the burning house. They're dragging their feet on reparation, but they say, hey, we give you Juneteenth as a holiday. When they give you a holiday, they're dismissing any validity to what your complaint is. It's very pejorative. They look down on you and say, okay, here. Just like a child that's complaining, right, here's some toys. Go over there and play. Let the adults talk. Why are you in this conversation? Here you go. That's what the holiday is. You say, here you go. right? And then they entice your children to get involved in the holidays, right? They expose this at school, on the media, on TV. Parents feel bad. I'm not in the holiday spirit. Then after they give you that, then they give you Valentine's Day, which is really, you're dealing with the she-wolf that raised these two. But anyway, so they give you that. And then in March, you'll go do Saint Leprechaun Day. That's what I call it. St. Patrick's Day, Leprechaun Day. Y'all dress up in green, go through these parades and all of that. Y'all looking mighty crazy out in these streets. But it's a result of the programming. It's a result of loss of culture. You think you're going to see a whole bunch of Jews celebrating St. Patrick's Day or Halloween in their community? They're conservative. That's not going to happen. That's not part of their culture. But they will impose their Sukkot in the public eye. Who's going to say no? So let's get Deuteronomy chapter 29. Let's read that real quick. Deuteronomy chapter 29, verse 10. You are standing today, all of you, because the Most High, your power, the heads of your tribes, your elders and your officers, all the men of Israel, your little ones, your wives, that means children and women are included in the covenant. Men, brothers, Akim, and the sojourner who is in your camp, the stranger, from the one who chops your wood to the one who draws your water, so that you may enter into the sworn covenant of Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh, your power, which Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh, your power, is making with you today, that he may establish you as his people, that he may be your power as he promised you, and as he swore to your fathers, Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. It is not with you alone that I'm making this sworn covenant, but with whoever is standing here with us today before the Most High power, and with whoever is not here with us today, referring to future generations or descendants of these individuals. So coming into covenant, you must get rid of the old self. That's why that old generation died out from the wandering within 40 years, because they could not let Egypt go. And I'm not here to say Egypt is evil, wicked, and bad. I'm not saying that. I've never professed or never said that. It was a situation just like we are here in America, right? America, there's some oppression here and there, right? Definitely. And we're getting the short end of the stick. But technically, are we slaves? Do they have us in chains and shackles and whipping and beating us? They're not doing that no more. But they create other hardships in place of the physical ones they give you. They give you mental hardships and stress and depression because you live in a poverty-stricken situation. You feel like there's no generational wealth that being sent down to you or there for your children. Nobody's established that before you. The Most High talks about restoring your fortunes. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 30. And this is the expectation he has with us in exile. And when all these things come upon you, the blessing and the curse which I have set before you, and you call them to mind among all the nations when the Most High has driven you. This is the exile. And return to the Most High your power, you and your children. It can't just be you. And obey his voice in all that I command you today, which was the statute, laws, and commandments, with all your heart and with all your soul. Then the Most High your power will restore your fortunes and have mercy on you. And he will gather you again from other peoples where he has scattered you. In Egypt, right, they had to obey the rules and regulations for Pesach or Passover in order for them to leave out. And when they obeyed it, the nation that they were in gave them money and in the form of items and possessions, silver and gold, etc., so they can leave. When we have our Goshens and Yah judges this nation and they see that we are untouched because we're making the preparations to leave, they're going to say, oh, just take this and go, take this and go. But we have to have something established. Otherwise, we're going to be taken along with them. So the Most High wants to restore your fortune and have mercy on you. This is before you're gathered. See, y'all want that sky in a pie after you die. Y'all have your hands clapped, praying like this on your knees, asking for the Most High. Most High, come take me now, yeah. No, you got work to do. A lot of y'all want the easy way out. Y'all want the easy way out. This lifestyle is not for the easy way out. If you think it is, then you're fooling yourself. And I'm just here to tell you the uncomfortable truth. It is what it is. So, with that, let me give a couple of shout outs. I don't know who's in here, but I'm gonna keep going. Shout out to my brother Emmanuel in the building. Shalom, Leslie Fields, Chell Bell, Gavin Miller, Asantua, W. Mack, Scott Garrett Headley, Hokma Cafe, Azariel, Sister V Love, Sister Tahira Beloved, Shalom, Shannon here in the building, Shalom, Asid Brook, Shalom, of Yod Hey Wafe, El Shaddai, the Black Harif, Shalom, Janella Johnson, my cousin in the building, Shalom. Thank you. I appreciate that, cuz. We gotta catch up, man. We gotta catch up. And I will be there on Thanksgiving, quote unquote, with my family, because it's the only time that we could get them together, and we will be speaking truth. See, the scripture says, if somebody has you walk a mile, you walk 2 miles with them. If you know, hey, my family, they get together this time, and I don't celebrate Thanksgiving, and my family, this ain't no secret. My family know I don't celebrate the holidays. I make it known all the time. They know that. But at the same time, I'm not going to just purposely come in there and raid on a parade. That's not how you do it. You come there, you see your family, you be human, you relate, you build with them. Don't even focus on what this holiday is about. And then you speak truth. They say, hey, you want some ham? Nah, we don't do ham. I'm not here to eat that. Oh, you say, you know what? We ate before we came here. We just came for the fellowship. Since everybody's going to be here, we just want to talk. When we get down, we bust down this truth. We talk about the truth. If they're willing to engage it, I know that before my aunt passed, I had a conversation with her, and she told me, Ron, I need you to help keep this family together. And I said, listen, auntie, there's only but so much I can do. I'm one person, right? She said, I know. She said, but take advantage of the holidays. This is what she told me. Take advantage of the holidays. This is what she said to me. Now, I got to give credit to my cousin Nell that's in here, because she was the one trying to arrange and to get the family together. But, everybody's grown. They got a life now, and, so forth. It just seems when certain pillars in the family pass, everybody does their own thing. That happens, right? Until there's another tragedy. But the key thing is, if the opportunity is there, you have to take advantage of it based on the scenario. You can't come in here kicking the door down, taking the scripture and say, yo, this, and that. Like, you can't get down like that, right? You got to find a way that you can relate to people. Like some of y'all is what they call super brews. Y'all can't relate to people. I put the video up of me dealing with the trick-or-treaters. I didn't wild out on them, right? I treated them with tact, respect. I made a couple of jokes. Even gave out a few cookies. But what was I saying in conjunction with that? I gave them a seed. Some of y'all want some trees to grow with fruit hanging off of it. It don't work like that. Seed takes time. It must first take root. Then it must be watered, nourished. It must be cultivated in the right soil to provide it with the right nutrients for it to grow. It can't have any hindrances. It needs a lot of sunshine. Okay. So key thing that I'm saying here is when I see what my family is gathered, I take time to talk with them, build with them. Hey, what's going on? Laugh, joke, and all of that. But at some point, the truth is going to come out. And when it does, you stand firm on it. But you do so without being an a-hole, right? And I don't curse on here. I just say a-hole. Y'all know what I mean by that. Or a blah, blah. Don't like using that term, but I'm saying that because it's a common term in colloquial speech that we use in regards to someone who's stubborn, thick-headed, and someone who's pompous and egotistical, etc. And that's the key. Just like the B word is used for women, but those terms we don't use when we speak to those who we endearing with. Even though some people in fights and arguments may say those things, maybe that's how they really feel about people. Something's wrong with them. But you don't have to act like that or have that type of snobbery when you're dealing with regular people. And you wonder why they don't want to accept the truth. Well, how are you delivering the truth? How are you delivering it? You could be loving and strict at the same time. It's balance. Some of y'all don't understand that. The Most High don't like unjust weights and balance. And that's the problem. That's why you lose your witness. Right? Y'all don't know how to navigate this thing, and it's okay, right? Because there's some people here that will explain it to you, and this is why we lose a lot of people in this walk, because y'all too strict on them. Y'all too strict. And I'm not saying don't put no protocol in place to keep people in order. I'm not saying that. It's how you deliver it. See, we got too many better males and better females running this thing. That's the problem. Because if you have to overexert your authority, your power, then that means you're weak. You're overcompensating. But if you could speak to somebody like this and talk to them with love, then after you're done, hey, you hungry? You want something to eat? Hey, you have this situation. Let me help you out with that. Hey, you need me to come over next week to do A, B, and C? You see that? One thing I appreciate about my mother, When me and my brother got in trouble, she whooped us. I ain't gonna lie. She took the belt, brought it right across our butts or whatever, right? But after she did that, she said to me, don't think I'm doing this because I don't love you. I love you. So she gave us a hug. She gave us a kiss. And then she says, I want you to write down why I did this. Because if you understand why I did this, you know it's not because I hate you. I had a bad day. I don't love you. That stuck with me. I said, oh, so when I discipline my children, I try to do the same thing. Now, I don't get them to write nothing yet. They're kind of young. Maybe my oldest is different. But the key thing is I tell them, I still love you. After I discipline you, I still love you. I didn't do this because I didn't love you. I did it because you didn't follow protocol. And protocol is there to protect you, to safeguard you. It's not there to restrict your freedom. It's there to teach you balance. There's a time and a season for everything. There's a time you could be a kid and jump around, do things, but there's a time to be serious. A great example of that is if we're crossing the street. When we on that sidewalk and my children walk inside, I walk on the outside of the sidewalk, they walk on the inside, right? You can skip and you can jump, holding your hand cool. When we're crossing that street, it's no time for play. It's danger. The wrong move can cost you and me my life. So they must understand balance, but also know that I love you. I'm not telling you this truth because I purposely want to destroy you or hurt you. I'm telling the truth because I want to make you stronger. Because you had some weak points in your life. You have some things you're going through right now. And because you don't know the truth, you have nothing to stand on. So we're going to give you that sure foundation, anchor you down. So no matter what waves come, you'll continue to stay the course. But sometimes that anchor needs to be let down to give you a moment to reflect, to introspect, to self-analyze, right? So you can know what's going on, right? You can get your whereabouts. You can have your compass set so you know which direction to go. That's the way it needs to be delivered. Tactfully, with strength, authority, but you don't need to overexert it. But you know tact, which means it tells you what to say and when to say it and how to say it. That's how it's designed. Tact. And diplomacy, you let a person know that even though these are the terms and conditions of whatever treaty or whatever we're doing, right? A, B, and C is here, and we want these relationships sincerely because there's a mutual benefit. I don't benefit by purposely beating you over the head with this information. I don't benefit from that. But it's a way to do it. The Most High says, through loving kindness have I drawn thee. Does that mean that exempted the Most High from judging when judgment is needed? Did that take away his righteous indignation when people are sinning? No, that's not what it's saying. They may not be actively doing the sin right there in front of you, but the key thing is you plant that seed, and that seed will convict. That's it. You plant it. I don't see nobody taking a seed and taking a shovel and mashing that thing down in the ground. I don't see nobody doing that. At least people I know who are gardeners, they don't do that. Right? You take care when you're planting the seed so that it can take root. Because people may not always remember what you say, but they do remember how you made them feel. And that's important. Man, that person gave me so much truth. They didn't yell, they didn't scream, they didn't look down on me. They just served the truth. I can't be mad. What can I say? So you disarm them from any excuses to avoid the truth, right? But there's a way that you do it. And again, that's the problem. We have too many super brews. You're no better than these Christians that you bang on, because a lot of them are self-righteous too. A lot of you brews are self-righteous. You are. You think you have everything together, and you do not. Because at any given time, something can happen in your life to drive you away. And you also got to know how to deal with those who oppose you. So recently, and I'm going to say this and I'm going to transition. I still got some more shout outs to do. So all praise to the Most High. I'm going to show you some success testimonies from this COVID-19 battle. And again, and I have to keep prefacing it with this because people misconstrue things. I'm not against vaccinations. If you want to be vaccinated, that's fine. If I choose to be vaccinated, not to be vaccinated, you should be fine with that. But the moment you impose yourself on me, then I'm going to have to push back. But if you leave me alone and do you, that's fine. It's no problem. They're creating another class system between the vaccinated and unvaccinated. The media is stirring this up. The media is doing this. People are buying along with the media. That's why I don't have no beef if somebody's vaccinated. It's not that serious. That's your decision. But if I choose not to, you can't impose a mandate on me that infringes upon my religious disposition. Because according to the Constitution, the way it was founded, right, it was based on freedom of religion. Because a lot of the people that was coming over here were being oppressed by religious leaders and religious systems. It's crazy because when they came over here, you still had Salem witch trials over here. So some of them still got burnt up over here. But when the founding forefathers, quote unquote, in 1776 did what they did, Declaration of Independence and all that fun stuff, and created their charter, they had one of the things in there, not what you are, what we're going to give you. We're not going to grant you a right. We're going to respect the rights that you've already been given by the Creator. If the Creator gave me a sufficient immune system that I have, that if I treat it well, I have everything necessary to overcome a virus that has a 1.6% morbidity rate, I think I'd rather err on the side of using natural healing to deal with it. The statistics is not high, like I said before, Ebola, which has up to a 90% morbidity rate. That's different. My decision may shift at that time if I don't have anything natural to deal with it. Then I said, okay, maybe I may need some medical intervention. But if I choose now not to do it, and some of y'all choose on your job not to do it, then you don't have to do it. Now, I had a person that is subscribed to this channel, one individual, right, who left a comment and was trying to correct me in regards to this coronavirus situation. And they said that, oh, it's not supposed to be 100%. And like, obviously, I know that. If you follow this channel, you see that I had discussions and debates previously where I said this. But nonetheless, I offered them an opportunity to come on the platform and have a dialogue, since they think that what I'm saying about this, and remember, I never said I was against the vaccination. What I'm saying about this is detrimental to the health of people. You killing people out here. How am I killing people? Oh, because I'm telling people they have the right to choice. They have the right to prophylaxis or preventive medicine, or doing things and putting measures in place so that way they do not get the full-on symptoms that can drive to hospitalization, that there's ways that they can take care of their health. That's why I created Naturopath to Eden. I created that to do two things. To number one, to get people who are interested in health to help other people who have health issues. And number two, to create a sustainable model so that those consultants that are giving free consultations can also earn some money as supplemental income. So I created an opportunity for people to get helped and healed and even compensated for their time, right, and their efforts. I created that. And we have training that I drafted and put together. Shout out to my Naturopath to Eden team. So we have something in place to teach people about proper nutrition, dietary supplements, and moderate exercise. And if a person who gets the letter that we give, one of the agreements is that you have to schedule a free consultation. But if you have rights that you have been endowed with by your Creator, and the nation state that you live in acknowledges that, and they try to impose a mandate on you by saying, oh, if you don't take this shot, you killing people. What? I kill people. I'm trying to figure out who I killed because of a lack of being vaccinated. Who did I kill? Can you present the bodies? So you're making an accusation without producing the injured party. How can we have a trial with no? If you're saying I hurt somebody and don't produce the injured party or the evidence of, you don't have no trial. So show me how. Show me how. Yes, a 501c3 has a political gag order. That's on the IRS website. So that's completely correct, sis. Nonetheless, so what people don't realize, they think, oh, no, it's warfare. This is warfare. And I'm not telling nobody to put themselves in a position to be a public health hazard to others around them. That's why I said, if we're going to help you, you must agree to this consultation, so we can make sure that your health regimen is in alignment with protecting you from being symptomatic if you get infected. Listen, even if you're vaccinated, you can still be you can still be infected. It doesn't stop you from being infected by the virus. If you understand how microbiology works, immunology, virology, you understand that it does not stop you from being infected. It stops you from developing the symptoms of infection. Doesn't stop you from being exposed. You will still be exposed. And if you have the Delta variant, you can still be symptomatic. And you can still have a high viral load and pass it on to others, just like people who are unvaccinated. The difference is it's going to be for a shorter period of time. Remember, I read from CDC websites, St. John's University, Hopkins University. I'm reading from sources, right, in society that is seen as an authority on the subject matter. I'm reading their material. I'm not reading something random. I know how to do research. I know how to vet sources. I know what I'm presenting. I know how to defend what I'm presenting. So if somebody has a problem with the fact that I'm telling people I'm not against vaccination, I'm against the imposition or of control on somebody's freedom to exercise their God-given rights, I'm against that. I'm against that. You have to show me, check it out, show me evidence of unvaccinated people killing vaccinated people. Show me the evidence for that. I'll wait. Somebody put the link there in the chat. Show me the evidence and the statistics from a vetted authority on this subject matter that shows how many vaccinated people died from unvaccinated people transmitting the virus to them. I'll wait for those stats. I'm going to give it about a minute and wait for those stats. Somebody drop it there in the chat. Maybe I missed something. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait. Somebody bring those stats up. Maybe do a Google search for me. Throw the link in the chat. Matter of fact, let's put some money up. We always do the Cash App challenge. Just put some money up. Put some money up. Okay, I got a Cash App right here. Okay. If somebody can put a link to give me the statistics of how many vaccinated people die from exposure to COVID-19 from unvaccinated people, I'm gonna Cash App you some money. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna give you another minute. I'm gonna wait. Then we're gonna talk a little bit more about this, and we're gonna move on to another subject matter, get into our open discussion, Q&A, etc. Right? So I'm gonna wait. Go ahead. The money's right here for somebody. Just find me, give me a source with the statistics on how many unvaccinated people are transmitting the virus to vaccinated people, and those vaccinated people who've been vaccinated from the virus are dying. Show it to me. I'll wait. Matter of fact, let me put some more money in. Let's do it. I'm gonna wait. I don't see no action happening in the comment section now. So people, y'all might be researching this. That's great. Put the link there. I'll wait. And see, if you're gonna draft this letter up yourself, that's another question you can pose. You can say, hey, I've seen a lack of sufficient data that showcases that people who are unvaccinated are transmitting COVID-19 to people who are vaccinated, and is resulting in their hospitalization and death. Said numbers have not been produced. Where's the data on that? Because I deal with data. Where's the data on that? If you're telling me you killing people, oh wait, okay, that's your opinion. You're being emotional. I understand you're emotional. You're a little emotional, right? But let's calm down for a second, right? Show me the statistics. You really want to get brave when you talk to them? Do it in a very calm voice. Hey, can you show me the statistics on how many unvaccinated people are killing vaccinated people or driving them to hospitalization via exposure and transmission of COVID-19 from unvaccinated to vaccinated people? Can you pull forth those statistics? If you can, then I can see you have some merit behind what your statement is. But if you can't, it's an unsubstantiated claim. Just your assertion. That don't mean anything. It has no weight. I said that to several people. I've yet to get anything back. Where's the numbers at? Where's the numbers at? Now, they may say this. I'm going to tell you how many they may get slick. Well, people who are vaccinated, they get the Delta variant, and some of them become symptomatic. That's what they say, right? That's what they say. Some of them become symptomatic. They have breakthrough infection, symptomatic, and all of that. And that's because unvaccinated people gave it to them. So I said, well, if unvaccinated people gave the virus or transmitted the virus to people who are vaccinated, then your vaccination is not working. Wait. Then that means your vaccination is not that efficient. The efficacy is diminished via the application, execution of something that was done in vitro in hopes that it would be good in vivo, in the lab and outside the lab. Apparently, you got some more work to do. LD, you got one case? Drop it in there. Show me the link. Statistics. I want to see it. Put the link in there. We'll take a look at it. So the key thing is to show them the inefficiency of the imposition of the mandate. Why is it inefficient? Because you have no data to show that if I stay unvaccinated and these people are all vaccinated, that I'm a public health risk to them. Matter of fact, people who are vaccinated transmit, and this happens over time, transmit a more resistant form of the virus. Let me tell you how this happens. If you understand anything in the pathology of viruses, what happens is whenever the body is already primed to face a virus, the virus itself must infect much more quickly, and it must go through random chains of mutation in order to survive the immune system. Let me give you proof of this. Look it up. Or if you don't want, I can produce said for you tons of articles on this. I read this stuff all the time. I don't want to give too much medical and scientific jargon. Sometimes it may spill out, but I try to be very layman with it. But let me explain to you how this works. Apparently, about 97% of the genome of this particular coronavirus, right, has an affinity and or similarity to bat coronaviruses. Look it up. 97%. The other percentage is other mutation changes, and some of it has taken some of its what we call genome from what they call the intermediate species or the vector that brought the bat coronavirus to humans. And they believe it was a pangolin or some other kind of intermediary mammal or whatever the case may be, right? Because, you know, bats are mammals. They're the only mammals that can actually fly. So what happens is in bats immune system are so efficient that viruses do not last long in their body unless there's some kind of compromise or, you know, something's wrong with the bat's immunity, right? Because immunomodulation. Some things, maybe the bat is not an ideal environment to get the foods that it needs. So therefore, it's not able to get the nutrients to the body so that the immune system can fend off a virus or disease. But coronaviruses in bats do not last long because the bat's immune system is automatically primed, right? You have an innate and an adaptive immune system. You have two forms of your immune system, your innate immune system and your adaptive immune system. The innate is the first line defenders. The adaptive immune system is the ones that after the first line have done it and intelligence is transmitted back to the generals, they devise strategies going forward on how to deal with that particular attack. So what happens is these viruses have to replicate very fast because they do not survive long in a hostile environment of the immune system of a bat. So what happens is when you vaccinate people, and again, I am not against vaccination. Everything I say, if anybody has a disagreement with it, let me know. We can set up a debate, conversation, discussion, whatever you want to call it, and I could bring forth all of my sources, and I can communicate to you, convey to you, explicate to you all of the minute details in medical and or scientific jargon, if you prefer, and why what I'm saying can be backed by science. When you vaccinate people, you prime the immune system before the infection, which means if a whole group of people, so this, mind you, there's positives and negatives when it comes to vaccinations. Vaccinations is positive because it prevents you from being symptomatic if you're infected. Why? Because the body's already primed, the antibodies are already there, it can address it. And it's not just the antibodies that protect you. There's a whole host of other processes that happen in the body that protects you other than the antibodies. The fact that if you go to any of these websites that talk about vaccination, they say to you, well, you don't know how long your antibodies last. Wait, hold on. You don't know how long your antibodies last. You've been doing this type of science for over 200 years. And you telling me you don't know how long antibodies can last? When if I go get a textbook of immunology, it tells you how long antibodies last. But that's neither here nor there. I'm not even going to argue that. Especially when there's 4 major coronaviruses, already human coronaviruses that are in our population today that we get that causes rhinitis, symptoms such as cold, etc., that we already get. We've been studying coronaviruses for a long time, and you telling me you don't know how long the antibodies will last? That kind of sounds, am I saying it is? It kind of sounds like you're paving the way for booster shots. That's what it sounds like. A business model. Because every time something comes out, because now Moderna, they have the pill now that's coming out, and the pill is not for prophylaxis or preventive. The pill is if you get the onset of symptoms, it's supposed to reduce the length of you having these symptoms so that it does not lead to hospitalization or potentially death, right? So you're telling me you have years of data, especially for previous infections of the same SARS virus, because we had an outbreak in China before, and we had an outbreak in the Middle East. You have SARS back then in China and MERS in the Middle East. You've been studying it since then. You don't know how long antibodies last in the body? When I could pick up a textbook of immunology that's used in medicine schools that tell you this is standard stuff, but nonetheless, when the population is primed, you have a protection there in the event that you are infected. Now, the viral load or the frequency of infection, maybe you might be infected more than once, you know what I'm saying? Or the amount of virions that you're exposed to, the little baby viruses that you're exposed to, may be high, may be small. It just depends. It can be so small that you actually get infected by it, the body responds to it, and you have the antibodies with it, but you already been exposed to this much. Then you may be exposed to this amount of viral load. A lot of times I don't see this in statistics because based on how the body responded and when the body does a cleanup. The way the process works for antibodies is very different. You have general antibodies in the body, and then you have antibodies that are specifically primed to attack a particular variant of virus and or bacteria, right? Or fungi or something else, right? So the good news is, hey, if we infected from being vaccinated, we straight, right? We straight, right? Blah, blah. Now, the second thing that happens is when the virus is in an immune system where it is very difficult for it to infect, guess what happens? Over time, when that virus does infect, it is in the fight of its life. So the replication rate is much faster. Just like viruses have adapted to infecting mammals like bats that have a really good immune system and that's very quick to fire back, now you're going to start seeing that same thing happen in the human population. And then what tends to happen is now you get these additional strains. They call multi-drug resistant strains. Look it up. Multi-drug resistant strains. You have this mostly in bacteria. This is why penicillin doesn't work for a whole host of bacteria that it used to work with before because of vaccinations, right? And the lack of teaching people proper nutrition, proper health, etc. Rushing to your doctor for everything. Prescription nation. That's what we are. We get a whole bunch of prescriptions for everything instead of saying, hey, let me just eat healthier. Hey, let me just take natural supplements. Hey, let me just do this or do that. So now you have a situation where now you have all these accelerated mutations that happen when the virus is trying to survive. And then now you get these variants such as Delta variant and others, right? That now become more highly transmissible. The transmission rate is much higher. Let me say it like that. Transmission rate is much higher because the viral load increases over time because the virus has to multiply faster in order to survive in that hostile environment of being attacked. The replication rate is slower when the virus can be more evasive. You have this in a lot of latent viruses such as herpes and HIV, etc., right? Different type of viruses, RNA, stranded viruses, DNA viruses. So the key thing that I'm saying is if you understand these simple things in regards to science and immunology and virology, right? And I shared textbooks on here before. I read the textbooks that they have in Johns Hopkins University, Emory University. I'm subscribed to their libraries. I get their books and I read their books on this stuff. And I'm like, wow, the experts are speaking from these perspectives, but apparently, are they realize what's in the library at the university? It tells you how long natural immunity and immunity through artificial insemination or through inoculation, how long the antibodies last. It's not a secret. You could study antibodies from being exposed to any other kind of virus to get an idea. This is an mRNA virus. It's not the only mRNA virus of its kind. These viruses have existed prior. Messenger ribonucleic acid viruses. Why? Because they hijack the assemblage factory in the cell and forces it to produce more virions instead of whatever instructions it receives for the DNA. Right? So yes, hospitals, again, just like you have staph infections, because they become multi-drug resistant strains of staph, which is the shortened form of Staphylococcus, right? So here's the thing that I'm saying. All I'm saying is, if you're telling me that I'm a threat, you must prove it. Prove that I'm killing people. You're just making an act. That's like me telling somebody, you're a murderer. You know why they say you're a murderer? Because you have a gun in your house. Well, okay, so who did I murder? Doesn't matter. You killing people. Because I own a gun, I'm killing somebody. It's like what? Like, I don't understand. Like, the logic is flawed. There's better arguments that can be made for people to get inoculated than saying you killing somebody. The reason why I'm saying this is because some jobs are telling people, are threatening, scaring people to say, you're killing people. Show me the proof. Where am I killing people? Where? Show it. Hold on. Let me jack that up to 100. Sister LD, where's she at? I'm trying to. Did she drop the link in here? Acid Brooks, you dropped the link. Who dropped the link? Where's it at? Oh, you can't do it in here. Okay, so y'all sent it to me. Email it to me. If you have a link, email it to me. I want to see the stats, right? Don't give me no isolated incidents. Don't give me no one-off study. I want to see numbers to justify mass inoculation. That people who are unvaccinated, and the results of them being exposed to coronavirus and transmitting coronavirus to people who are vaccinated, them developing COVID. COVID is the disease, right? Coronavirus is the vector for the disease, right? And we study the pathology of the disease, right? So show me the numbers. Now, there's the email there. Send it to my email address, and I want to see the data that you have. Show me the data that you have. Would love to see this data. I would love to see it, because at the end of the day, it may be some innovation done for the advancement of mankind on the battlefield of fighting against viruses. I'm not against that. But at the same time, there's profit to be had behind it. They're not doing it for the free will of everybody, for mankind. I just want to do something noble for mankind as a nonprofit. If these pharmaceutical companies really cared about society, tell them to transition to a nonprofit. Tell them to transition to a nonprofit. And then you'll get somebody like Bill Gates, who have foundations, and he has to fund other businesses so that way they can do what they do. It's not, again, they're not going to do it just because I took the Hippocratic Oath and I just want to heal everybody. That's not the case. Because as a nonprofit, you can still make money as a nonprofit. Okay. All right. All right. So I'm waiting on the link. Somebody said that they had a link. Did you drop it in the email? Send it to the email. All right. Where we at right now? Let's see where we at right now. We at $100. All right. I'm gonna stop here. We at $100. $100. All right. So here's somebody sent me a link. Shout out to IC Brooks. He sent me the link. Let's take a look at it. All right. Remember, this is not a one-off. He's going to show me statistics that shows that there's a great amount of unvaccinated people that are killing. You talking about numbers. Remember, I said no one-off isolated incident. Show me the numbers, statistics. So we're going to read this and see if there's statistics in it. All right. So let's go ahead and let me drop the link in there for y'all. Hold on. And thank you, my brother Asid, for sending something. Let's drop the link in there. Y'all was on those Twitter fingers quick, doing searches all over, because y'all didn't have these. Check it. Y'all didn't have this information before I asked it. Y'all had to research it. Asid Brooks, if you're honest, I know you researched it. I know you did, my brother. So check it. Let me drop the link in here, right? Check it out right here. And let's read it together as a family. This is our bedtime story, okay? I'm going to read y'all a bedtime story. And I want to see the statistics to prove this. Right? And again, I don't want to deal with no conspiracy theories. And whatever my personal conspiracy theories are, I keep it to myself. And I reserve it for the Let's Talk About It show that we're going to do on Patreon. So if you want to hear me give you my take on quote unquote conspiracy theories, which is really not conspiracy theories, is actually based on data that exists. Like when I gave you the link to look at declassified documents from the federal government that you can read and see things that they've been doing, that people during the time say, hey, this is a conspiracy. And they say, no, it's not. And then it's been declassified 20 years later. And actually they were doing it. You know, when we say, you know, there were people back during the Vietnam War that was like, yo, the government is using what we call, check it out, cloud seeding to enhance the monsoon season when they were going to war with the Vietnamese. People were saying that. They were being told you're conspiracy theorists. Before this whole vaccination passport thing, people last year were saying that they were going to come out with vaccine passports. They were told you're crazy, and now they have vaccine passports. So the key thing is, I just wait. I'm a patient man. I'm going to wait another 5 to 10 years and see what's declassified. This stuff gets declassified over time. And I'm going to look at all the data that existed that was being withheld from our public knowledge, right? But let's go ahead and read this article, all right? Let me zoom in so we can see it good. I want to see the statistics, right? An Iowa woman whose husband died from a breakthrough COVID-19 infection is blaming Americans who refuse to mask or get vaccinated. It's that kind of attitude that killed my husband. Ardith Keplinger, whose husband, Gary Keplinger of Mount Ayr, was buried this month, told Des Moines Register. In his obituary, the family wrote that his life was unnecessarily cut short. They described the retired school superintendent as one of several victims recently infected from an unmasked, unvaccinated person. Now, where's the proof of that? I'm gonna keep reading. I want to see the proof on that. If you go to the NCBI, we have all types of peer-reviewed articles and articles, medical articles, scientific articles. I want to see the proof that it was an unvaccinated. Did they find the individual responsible for getting him sick? But let's keep reading. Maybe. His widow said he had a chronic autoimmune neuromuscular condition called myasthenia gravis, which may have made him particularly susceptible when he attended a gathering of 50 to 75 extended family members in a rented hall in July. Did y'all read that? Let's read it again. Which may have made him particularly susceptible when he attended a gathering of 50 to 75 extended family members in a rented hall in July. The couple had been avoiding crowds, but they mingled unmasked. What? Wait. Let's look at the CDC guidelines. Wait. Hold on. Let's get the CDC guidelines now. I want to see if they're following the CDC guidelines. There's a lot of holes in this. Don't give me nothing to break it down. And Terry Saw 71, you're right. It's not a study at all. It's definitely this is the point I'm trying to make. They make you feel like you're crazy, you're insane, but then you just ask them, put the onus to them, and say, "Hey, just show me the data. You know, just show me the data. You can show it to me, then I'll get vaccinated. Where's the data at?" Right? All right, check it out. Let's go to the CDC website, because look what it says. The couple have been avoiding crowds, but they mingled unmasked at the event along with relatives, several of whom were unvaccinated. So maybe they should be mad at their relatives. No. Maybe they should be mad at themselves, because let's see what the CDC recommends. Even if you're vaccinated, whether you should wear masks or not in a crowded event of 50 to 75 people. Let's see if they're taking ownership for them not wearing masks. Okay, let's go see. Hold on. Because they're going to make you think you're crazy, right? All right, check it. Let's read it. This is from the CDC website, because you know, we do conspiracy theories here. Hebrews don't got data. Okay. Let's see what the CDC says. All right, let's check it out. Y'all ready for this? This is light work. Check it out. Mass. Given what we know about the Delta variant, vaccine effectiveness, and current vaccine coverage, layered prevention strategies, including wearing masks, are needed to reduce the transmission of this variant. Hold on, let me drop this in there. This is from the CDC website. I'm not making this up, but let's drop it in there. Hold on. Let's drop it in there. There it is right there. All right, let's keep going. Listen, y'all, they might shut this show down. So as soon as it's over, please copy this video. They might shut this show down. They might not allow any monetization at all, because I'm not banging against vaccination. I'm not telling nobody don't get vaccinated. I'm not saying that. That's your personal choice. All I'm saying is, if you're going to mandate it for me, I need more data. That's all I'm saying. So let's read this, right? CDC website. I dropped it in there. Let's read it. Check it. Let's read it. All right. Check. Come on. Let's just read it. It says, at this time, as we build the level of vaccination nationwide, we must also use all the prevention strategies available, including masking indoors in public places to stop transmission and stop the pandemic. Everyone who is able, including fully vaccinated people, should wear masks in public indoor places in areas of substantial high transmission. So if you are vaccinated, you have a spouse who has an autoimmune disease, and let's go see the warnings and the inserts about those with autoimmune diseases. Let's from the CDC. Wait. From the FDA, CDC, and the pharmaceutical manufacturers. Let's see what they say about this, because again, you ain't got to take my word for it. When somebody makes a claim, or I just say a statement or assertion, it's not even a claim at that point. I say, show me the data. Just show it to me. So look, now whose fault was this? Was it the unvaccinated people, or was it them from not at least masking up? Let's keep going. Hold on. Let's keep going. Hold on. I'm going to read it. And again, to those of you who are vaccinated out here, this is not about you. I have no beef with y'all. It's not about you. I'm still going to love you. I don't judge you. If you have to get vaccinated or you choose to do it, that's fine. What I have a problem with is other authorities imposing it on me without sufficient of data to prove to me that this is necessary, and that if I don't do it, I'm causing a public health hazard to everybody. I'm just killing everybody. I'm just murdering people. Walk out my door, I just killed 100 people. I'm just not seeing that happening. At least show me proof of that. Do a study. So look, let's continue to read the article. Let's read the rest of the article, right? Let's read it. I'm gonna go back to the article now. This is interesting. Hold on. Let me grab it. At least if I was them, I would have left that detail out. But you know what? They're expecting you not to pay attention. They think that you're dumb, you're ignorant, you don't read, you don't know, you're just going to believe whatever we tell you. Look what you did. You killed my husband. You unvaccinated people killed my husband. Wait, hold on. Those are your own relatives. Wait, how did I do that? How did I do it? And you went there unmasked too when the CDC guidelines, knowing the Delta variant is out? Oh, okay. All right, cool. You see? All right, let's go back. Let me reel in my enthusiasm. All right. But they mingled unmasked at an event of 50 to 75 people, several of whom was unvaccinated, meaning according to the CDC guidelines, you should have been masked up. It says within a week, 11 members of our family had COVID. Whose fault was that? Did an unvaccinated person tell you better go to that event? Put a gun to you, say you going to this event. What? Okay, let's keep going. But her husband and a cousin who also attended the party both died of COVID on August 11th. Now listen, I am not being insensitive. This woman lost her husband. My condolences to this woman, right? I have no beef. If somebody loses a family member to COVID, I respect that. I'm not going to make fun of that or anything like that. That's a serious ordeal because people are dying from COVID. I'm not saying COVID don't exist because there's some people out here that's saying COVID doesn't exist. They're saying coronavirus is fake. That's not me. Coronavirus is real. COVID is real. All of that is real. And people are dying from it. However, some numbers are being skewed as well. And we have data on that. But let me keep going. But her husband and a cousin who also attended the party both died of COVID-19 on August 11th, right? Now, this is what I want, right? I want to show me the coroner's report. Show me that. Show me that he died from COVID and not from the autoimmune disease he already had. Show me that COVID was the cause of the death. I would like, since this is being put in the public. Now, listen, this is an individual who's putting herself, and I don't even think that things like this are sensitive. I would never put an article like this out about my family member who died from COVID just to go out there and say, yeah, get vaccinated. But I think that somebody coached her. I think it would be a good idea if you use your life example to tell other people that they need to get vaccinated because they killed your husband. Aren't you mad? Aren't you furious? Yeah, let's go. Can I get the story? Can I get the story? Let's keep going. The Iowa Department of Public Health reports that vaccinated people make up just 10% of those being treated for the disease in the state's intensive care units, even though 64% of Iowa adults have had the shots. most of those who are becoming very ill despite being vaccinated, are elderly or have serious immune system issues. Dr. Patricia Winokur, a University of Iowa infectious disease physician and vaccine researcher, told the Des Moines Register, elderly people and those with certain health conditions may get less protection from vaccines. Elderly people and those with certain health conditions may get less protection from vaccines because their immune systems are less robust. So here's the thing. The key thing with herd immunity, whether it's artificially done or naturally done, is you get enough people who have the antibodies for the virus or bacteria, whatever the case may be, where when they get it, they are not symptomatic. Their rate of transmission is very low, right? And that if enough people get vaccinated and this happens to them, they protect the other 25% who are at risk, meaning that the virus itself escapes. It dies off, right? When I say escapes, it's no longer here in this particular community, society, country, etc., right? And that is the goal of vaccination, is to reach towards herd immunity so they can get this particular virus out of the public space, right? That's the goal. Now, if this is the case, let's say that this was effective over time, why do we still get measles vaccinations? Almost everybody, including myself, have been vaccinated with the MMR vaccination. But they'll tell generations today in 2021, y'all still need to get the vaccinations for this. But wait, if herd immunity works via vaccination, and again, the MMR vaccination, almost the whole society has that vaccination at birth, especially with most people having babies in the hospital. Why do kids in the future still need to get that? Why? You know why? Because even though it's been eradicated in one society, another society may be struggling with that, which we do see the case of measles. You do see that. We see that recently in the past 5 years, right? So the key thing is, if you have a recombinant virus that changes over time via mutations and or co-infecting the same cell with slight variances in their genome, right? In the form of mRNA, in this case, which is mRNA, right? Then you have different mutations, different variants are created via the mutations and the co-infections, right? Remember, they did not do any studies on co-infections during the EUA phase of the vaccinations, which was still considered a clinical phase. Keyword. Everything I'm saying is facts. Look it up. If not, I'll send you the documentation or join the Patreon, and you'll see all the data. I'm going to be producing more data on this, right? And again, I don't mean to go on a long spiel on this, but the reason why I have to get on my soapbox today and speak on it is because I feel bad for the people who cannot get exempted because they're being told that you are killing people. And yet the person that's making the accusation cannot produce a claim. Did you know that if I go out in the street and say this person is a murderer and they get arrested, that I can cost this person their life in prison? Who did I murder? What are you talking about? Who did I kill? And then you know what happens? Then they got to find somebody. Then they start to drum up a fake trial and say, you killed this random person because they died from COVID. You just so happen to be in close proximity to him on this day at this time. So you was the person that killed them. Say, whoa, wait, what? Wait, how many other people were they exposed to besides me? How do you know it was me? Their odds of staying healthy would be significantly higher if everyone around them also were vaccinated against the coronavirus, she said. Now, I'm not going to say that that's not a true statement, right? That may be a true statement. However, if you are having breakthrough infections from variants of a particular virus, guess what? If it's happening in the vaccinated population, it's never going to go away, especially when you have people who are elderly and immunocompromised. They will always get sick. How come the flu has never been eradicated? The flu has been here forever. People get vaccinated all the time for the flu. Flu is still here. It's a recombinant virus, if you understand how the flu works. Okay. Then you have other variants like avian flu. Then you have swine flu. They have their variants H1N1, etc., right? Experts say that's why it's important for everyone, including young, healthy people, to be vaccinated, wear masks indoors, and take other precautions. I like to think our communities will protect each other, Winnicott said. That was it? Wait, that was it? That was it. Hold on. All right. Let's get back. I'm waiting on the studies. Last offer, $120. Somebody drop the link in there. Go ahead. I'm waiting on a study. That's some isolated incident. That's hearsay. You can't prove that. If this was the court of law, can she point out the person that transmitted the virus to her husband when they themselves put themselves in a vulnerable situation, unmasked? You knew this man had an autoimmune disease and was immunocompromised, and you all still went to an event of about 75 people and knew people there was unvaccinated, and you went there with no mask, and you probably didn't even social distance because that's family. Why would you put yourselves in a situation like that and then have to blame everybody else for something, a decision that you decided to do? I didn't make that lady, that widow, I didn't make her go to that party. I didn't make her go to that event. I didn't tell her to go there unmasked. I didn't tell her to bring her husband. I didn't do any of that. Today, we have cell phones. Cell phones have cameras. If a person is sick and can't make it somewhere, you video chat. You set up a camera. You do a live stream. Because there's people who are elderly and sick who can't make it. Why would you put them in a precarious situation like that? And then blame somebody else for a decision you and your husband made. Like I said, Sister Adai Israel, it is a new class system that's being established. A new class system. And the ethnic group that is most resistant to vaccinations are people of color. You don't believe me? Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Let's take a look at this. Let's take a look. We're going to take a look. Let's look at data. I'm going to give you all the link. Everything we say we can back up. Everything we can say we can back up with primary. I'm going to drop the link. And again, I'm going to move past this. I just had to speak on it. And also had to share with y'all the success stories that we have, the testimonies we got from people that we actually help keep their jobs. And still people we're working with currently. We have given out almost 69 or 70. I think it's about 70. I don't like that term 69. People's minds are perverted. But almost 69 letters we have given out that we've done for people, help people with it, work them through the forms that they had, because some people just can't convey their belief system. They have it, but they just can't put it on paper to the point where it makes sense, it's coherent, etc. Right? Sometimes it's convoluted or whatever. They can't make it succinct. So we assist them with that, right? And from there, we have about 16 testimonies of people who have maintained their job because we've helped. We're still waiting on the other 40-something, 50 to reply back. But the reason why we don't have a response from them is because their deadlines are not here yet, right? So they haven't heard back from the employer, right? However, we have got testimonies from about 15, 60 people who have said, thank you. I kept my job. And we said, we're so happy that you was able to keep your job, right? But check it. Let's see. Let's see. I gave you the site. Let me scroll up so you can see the site. This is latest data on COVID-19 vaccinations by race ethnicity, right? KFF is a company that's following the need for trusted information on national health issues. This is the organization that monitors national health issues, right? Okay. Let's scroll down. Okay. The CDC reports demographic characteristics, including race, ethnicity, on people receiving COVID-19 vaccinations at the national level. As of November 2nd, 2021, CDC reported that race ethnicity was known for 60% of people who had received at least one dose of the vaccine. Among this group, 60% were white, 11% were black, 17% were Hispanic, 6% were Asian, and 1% was American Indian or Alaskan Native, and less than 1% were Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islander, while 5% reported multiple or other race. Did you see that there? You see that? You see that? 11% were black. There's more Hispanics getting it than blacks, but there's even less Asians that are getting it. Why? There's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. But let's scroll down. I want to show this to you, right? Overall, across these 43 states as of November 1st, this is extremely recent. Remember I told you about the crap test? This is relevance and accuracy, right, that we're dealing with. 55% of white people, now listen, they're using this term white people. I didn't say this. They're saying this. Had received at least one COVID-19 vaccine dose, which was close to the rate for Hispanic people, 53%, but higher than the rate for black people, 48%. White people had a vaccination rate that was higher than the rate for Hispanic people in 26 states, while it was similar or lower in 16 states. White people had a higher rate than black people in most reporting states except Oregon, Alaska, Idaho, Mississippi, Pennsylvania, Washington, Louisiana, Alabama. The size of these differences varied widely across states and have been narrowing over time. The overall vaccination rate across states for Asian people was higher compared to white people, 71% versus 55%, which is consistent with the pattern in most reporting states, However, Asian people had lower vaccination rate than white people in 5 states, right? Colorado, North Dakota, Utah, Pennsylvania, South Dakota. All these numbers here. Again, I gave y'all the link for this so you can see this, right? Let's take Georgia, for example, right? Let's take Georgia, for example, right? The amount of the percentage vaccinated, right? Percentage vaccinated, white to black ratio, percentage points from white, percent vaccinated, white to Hispanic ratio, etc., right? So white people, and again, I'm not saying this to be racist. This is what the article says, white people, just like they say black people. It's showing the percentage, the ratio between white to black. In Georgia is 1-to-1, right? In Alaska, 0.8, which makes sense, right? But check this out. Look at this. Look at the numbers here. Look at the numbers. Look at them, right? Disparities in vaccination rates continue to narrow and have nearly closed for Hispanic people. Between October 18th and November 1st, Black, Hispanic, and Asian people experienced a slightly larger increase in vaccination rates compared to white people. Why? Because the targeting for vaccination is going into these neighborhoods that are not getting vaccinated. They're targeting them. That's why. They're not targeting white people because white people have a higher percentage of vaccination. Why would they put their efforts in targeting them? They put their efforts in targeting people of color because they have a lower vaccination rate. You know that because when I went to black neighborhoods around here in Atlanta, when I was in New York, last year I was in LA, when I was in Raleigh earlier this year, last year I was in DC, I seen all bunch of campaigns in black communities. Now, the community I live in is a mixed community. I have white people here, East Indian, Asian, black. My community is mixed, right? But outside of my community, when I go to other parts of this county, black neighborhoods are people that I know there. Black neighborhoods. Nothing but a huge amount of promotions. Oh, you need to get vaccinated, this. And then I even see they do it media-wise because they look at your zip code and the district that you're in, and sometimes that drives the promos or the ads that you receive on the internet and TV. And I wish I had time to do this study, but on the TV my TV internet that I have, because of my zip code in which I live, I don't get a lot of those ads. When I was at my friend's house not too long ago, whole bunch of ads coming back to back. I'm like, oh, what? Even on his phone. I'm like, man, this is crazy. Right? Now, if you're looking at it, some people may say, oh, that's nefarious. Some people may say, no, it's for the benefit of public health. Right? I'm not going to weigh in on either side. I'm just showing you the data. So if somebody's telling you that you're killing people, simply ask them for the data, because if they don't give you the data, you label them a conspiracy theorist. Did you hear what I said? and do it tactfully. Do it respectfully, especially if you're in your place of employment. And say, man, you know, if you're telling me I'm doing something and can't prove it, you're a conspiracy theorist. I mean, you are technically a conspiracy theorist. Because what you're saying is a theory. You can't prove it. Where's the data? You haven't proved any sufficient data showing that unvaccinated people are transmitting the virus to unvaccinated people and causing those unvaccinated people who are not autoimmune or immune compromised and not elderly, causing them to have a high symptomatic hospitalization and death rate. Can you show me that data? If I'm exercising, masking, social distancing, quarantining, all the things that the CDC recommends for vaccinated and unvaccinated people, I limit or lower the transmission rate that I can get somebody sick. I'm being responsible. But you have all these people who are vaccinated, they're not being responsible. You can have the Delta variant as a vaccinated person and give it to me, an unvaccinated person, and kill me. Where's the data on that? Let's see how many vaccinated people are killing unvaccinated people. Because just because I'm unvaccinated does not mean I automatically have the virus. You got to prove that. What if a vaccinated person has the Delta variant, they're symptomatic, and they gave it to me and killed me? Now what? Are you going to sweep that under the rug? Or are you actually considering that? Or you know you're going to be biased and you're not going to do those type of studies. You know why? Because then that's going to hurt your stocks. All right, family, we're going to move forward. Okay. All right, y'all. Cancel culture may cancel this platform. We need your support. This is why I have to limit these types of rants to Patreon, because it's isolated there. It's not in the public view, right? But nonetheless, I am not saying to people don't get vaccinated, and I said it several times. So if anybody chop and screw this video or take something out of context, you did that purposely because you have an agenda. I have nothing against people who are vaccinated. I am not against vaccination. Matter of fact, vaccinations has helped us. It has. But vaccination has also damaged us. It has. What's the ratio and percentage? You can look up that data yourself if you want. Nonetheless, all I'm saying is in this country, you have the right to maintain your religious disposition, practice, and belief. Right? And also, I'm going to say one last gem and I'm out. We're going to move on to something else, right? One last gem and I'm out. If you have submitted Saint Productions 1, okay, look, let me just show this to you, right? I'm going to show this to you. I'm going to show this to you. I'm going to show this to you. Hold on. Let me see if I can show. I'm going to show this to you. And I'm going to let you address it. I'm not going to say nothing about that over the airwaves. I'm simply going to give you something for you to go back and research yourself. Okay? Let me drop it in here. Let me get on with this nugget. This is for you, my brother. Oh, that's Saint Productions 1. Oh, my brother. We need to talk ASAP. I need to talk to you ASAP, my brother. I have my executive assistant should be reaching out to you soon, but I need to schedule a conversation with you soon, my brother. I want to patronize your work, and I want to partner up with you, all right? Very important. Please, my brother, stay on the lookout for somebody from my team reaching out to you soon, all right? All right, look. Hey, Fly After Realm, they don't want to deal with culture because when you deal with culture, it's inherent. It's different. Religion is on the wisp. That's why they only allow you that religious exemption. If you're saying this is cultural because I am predisposed by my ethnicity to have this particular practice and system of do's and don'ts, right? Based on the corridors that have been set up and the doors placed in those corridors to protect me from external influences that seek to undermine and overtake and destroy and compromise a system integrity that's been put in place to keep me intact based on trial and error of my ancestors who have developed a paradigm that they have passed down in order for me to alleviate societal ills in any situation I'm in. I inherited this culture. I didn't just pick up a religion because what they ask you in follow-up questions is, when did you hold this religious belief? You see? Because religion, you can pick anything up. Culture, you're endowed with it. Now, you can reject it. You can turn away from it, right? but it is given to you by inheritance. You can claim it by inheritance. Religion, you can't claim religion. Okay, so I dropped the article in there for you, and this has to do with Fauci getting into hot water because of a gain of function study that was funded in Wuhan, China. Now, the public's PR statement that came out about it from the laboratory that was responsible says that, oh, well, we can prove that the studies that we were doing here that was funded is not the same variant of coronavirus that's in the wild. It's different. I'm not here to talk too much more about it. I sent the link. You can read it yourself, do the research yourself. Okay? But let me keep going. Last thing, I want to share this with y'all. It's very important. Whenever you stand your ground on this matter, you must be consistent. You must be consistent. Because if you're not consistent, they have every right to invalidate your religious exemption. Every right to do so. Because you don't have consistency there. They can see that you have an agenda. So you gotta be honest. Here's one of the things, right? In the letter where you say in the letter that based on my religious belief, I am against any form of murder, including abortion. Therefore, I do not acquiesce behind the science that has developed via the use of fetal cells or fetal cell lines. And even though they are not an ingredient in the vaccines, never say they are because that's not scientifically true. However, Pfizer, Moderna, J&J all use this in either their proof of concept phase, their clinical trial phase, their testing and development phase. Not clinical trial, excuse me. Let me take the clinical trial phase out. Testing and development phase, not in the production phase, not in the final ingredient or product, but because they use it at some point. I cannot in good conscience acquiesce to getting a vaccine that benefited off of something that contradicts my religious disposition, practice, custom, etc. Right? Check it. Follow me, y'all. Two things. It's the first thing. If you put that in a letter or on a form, you're going to get a follow-up question. And they're going to say to you, oh, okay, this is interesting. Okay, cool. Mr. John Doe. Okay, cool. All right, so Mr. John Doe, I got a question for you, Mr. John Doe. Are you against all medications? You'd be like, no, not all medications. Okay, cool. Just thank you for saying that. So have you ever taken ibuprofen, aspirin, acetaminophen, what's that? Motrin. Have you ever taken any constipation medication, anything from heartburn? Have you ever taken X-Lax, anything like that? You taken that before? Yeah, I've taken that before. And when you took it, did you hold the same religious belief? You say yes. Okay. Well, thank you so much for your religious exemption. It has been denied. You're gonna be like, what? What the? They're gonna say yes, because we regret to inform you that if you take ibuprofen, they also use fetal cell lines in their development. Your job is gonna be like, then you are being biased. So therefore, we deny it. I'm just giving you game. Then they're gonna ask you, have you received any vaccinations since you held this religious belief? And you say no. And they said, well, if you say no, would you have a problem with us, getting your medical records? Because, they have to ask permission to do this, and you have to give permission because it's HIPAA laws to look at your medical records just to verify this. If what you're saying is true, they're going to find all these ways to trip you up. So you better know your medical history. You better know your purchases, because most people, unbeknownst to them, a lot of their data is on the dark web. A lot of it. Your social security number, your driver's license information, your medical history, your banking statements. A lot of this information is on the dark web. Why? Because you have insiders that sell this information to third parties, and you have security breaches. I used to work in cybersecurity, right? I even worked for a company that had a cybersecurity breach, right? And data is leaked everywhere, and data is sold. Data is kept in repositories. So your company can get an ethical hacker. Did you know there's something called the ethical hacker? They can pay an ethical hacker to do an exercise to see if they can hack this system. There's a bunch of laws and stuff, but they don't follow laws all the time. But anyway, they can go into the dark web and it can pull your banking information. They can see that you was at Walgreens and you purchased ibuprofen. They can go back to the Walgreens, get the Walgreens receipt, because at some point this company may have had a breach. And they can go in there and say, oh, shoot, they lied to us. They may not tell you. They may say, oh, you know what? We considered it, but you know what? We're gonna reject this. We're gonna reject this. So all I'm saying is they're pulling out every stunt to trip you up. It's a loaded question. Always anticipate a loaded question. If they worded it a particular way, it looks like it's the same question twice, but his words change. That's done purposely, not by accident, not to be redundant, not to be mundane. It's a strategy behind it. Now, if you want to know what that strategy is, let me put you on the game. Now, look, maybe hit 1 if you want me to keep going. Hit 2 if you want me to stop. Hit 1 if you want me to keep going. Hit 2 if you want me to stop. And if anybody here needs assistance with a religious exemption letter for COVID-19 vaccine mandates, click the link in the description below, okay? And we will do our best to assist you, okay? If you want me to keep going, hit 1. If you want me to stop, hit 2. But check it. If you hit 1 and I keep going and they flag this channel or take this video down, I need y'all to hold me down on that Patreon, because it seems like that's the only place that I can put this type of information out, and I cannot do it publicly. It's crazy, the cancel culture we in, the shadow banning and algorithms, right, that will damage the integrity of your channel that you work. So I worked on this channel since 2014. I had this channel for a long time. I've done my best to put information out and abide by the rules so the information can get out. I've done my best not to be reckless, but done my best to abide by the rules. But I'm telling y'all, if they shut this down, I need y'all to go and support the Patreon. You can even put $1 on the Patreon and get the benefits up to $10, but 20, 50, 100 have other benefits connected to it. But I'm just saying this to say, if they shut this down, I'll have it on the Patreon, okay? But y'all are telling me to keep going, right? Let me show you. Your employer is getting consultation from third parties that are telling them how to draft up these forms. Matter of fact, some people don't even see anything in the employee handbook about this, because that's the company policy that you signed and agreed to before you started employment. All right? Some people are just getting notices, random pop-up meetings, a memorandum that you didn't sign off on. It's just something that you've been told as a statement, right? And they give you the coercion, you know, the force or the threat of firing or losing your job to put fear in you, right? I'm going to show you where they're getting aid, because some people don't even know how to respond to this. They said, well, we got to wait for further communication. More than likely, they don't have a policy on this. Everybody here needs to have the employee handbook. Read the policies in your employee handbook. Be familiarized, because you signed off on it. They're going to hold your foot to the flames on that, right? I'm going to show you, right? I'm going to show you what some of these sources are that's providing aid to your employers to tell them how to adopt policies for this new COVID-19 and future policies for vaccines. You know, they want to get booster shots and stuff like that. You think I get 2 shots, I'm good? No. Mandates in the future are going to come out for boosters. So don't think that you got 2 shots, you straight. You're going to get seasonal shots. Okay? They're going to turn you into a whole addict out here. A whole addict out here, right? Nonetheless, again, I don't want to talk pejoratively or talk down on people who have been vaccinated. All I'm saying is be prepared for those booster shots. If you don't understand how coronavirus works, how we got all these random, when we have a variant of concern, right? And it's something that the current line of vaccinations cannot adjust and adapt to, then you're going to get a booster shot, and or you're going to get another solution for it. So let me show it to you. Let me show it to you, right? Check it out. Let me pull it up for you. And I'm going to tell you, and check it out. If your employer is mandating a vaccine as a federal subcontractor, more than likely they've received federal aid at some point, or they're continuously receiving federal aid, right? So they put themselves under the jurisdiction of the federal government. It's not the same thing as if I have a small business, right? And I have not taken any loans from the government, any aid from the government, but I've done everything solely on my community. Guess what? They can't mandate this on me. Huh? So this should be the time that a lot of our people should engage in creating our small businesses. I'm not telling nobody to leave their job cold turkey. Don't do that. You should always have at least 3 sources of revenue. At least 3 sources of revenue, right? But let's get into it. Let's get into it, all right? Let me show it to you. Let me drop this in the chat. Here you go. Hold on. Hold on. There's one. Let me give you another one. Hold on. Check this out. Watch this. Here's another one. All right. Here's another one. Check it out. When y'all get time, read this stuff so you can understand the psychology behind what your employer is doing, right? And again, this is not a knock to your employer. I'm just saying this is just what it is. And I'm going to read this one. I'm sending y'all several of them. I'm going to read this one. All right. And again, you're not getting this. I mean, I don't know anybody else in our community that is doing this. You know why? Because they don't want their videos to get striked. They don't want to lose the monetization. If it happens to me, it happens to me. I have enough people that support this ministry that we won't go nowhere. We'll just be on another format, another platform or whatever, and do what we do. It's not going to take anything away. Like I told you, the thing that presses fear the most is autonomy. Their power comes in your dependence of them for all of your needs and wants. The moment you cut that umbilical cord and you are independent and self-sustained, now it becomes a threat because you didn't even pick up a gun. And we know we don't advocate for no overthrow of the government, anything like that. We never advocate for that, nor will we ever advocate for that. That is not our job to do that. We do advocate for autonomy because that is the inherent right for any ethnic group that is here in America. They have the right to autonomy. This nation allows for that. This is why other ethnic groups have been prospering here. And we have not. We only have isolated individuals here and who have, and they put them in a spotlight to make you think that everybody in America who's black is being successful, and that's not the case. But let's read this here. Let's read this here. If we're going to really talk about stuff, KHM, we help people outside of YouTube. Those 16 people jobs that we save have families, right? Some of them say, look, if I lost this job, I don't know what I would do. I put 35 years into this job, and they willing to let me go off of this. I'm like, of course. You thought they valued you? It's a business. Especially if you had a at-will state like Georgia. Thank you for your 35 years. Here's a severance package. You can take from your 401k. Have a good day. Thank you, but no thank you. Have a good day. You didn't put 35 years in. They saying have a good day. and you in here in your late 50s, 60s, trying to get back in the job market, thinking you're going to be able to compete with these younger people coming in who are asking for much less than what you're asking for because you have the experience behind it. We are a ministry that helps people in real life. This is not just YouTube. We help real people in real life. Anybody who's been in here, I don't know, anybody watching now is a result of us helping you in regards to this exemption. But I'm going to show you a few of our testimonies in a moment, right? And then I promise, if y'all want me to stay on here and talk about Israelite cultural stuff and, you know, because I want to get into the Kanye West thing now. Because, you know, Kanye West now, and it's not just now, he's been given these hints from time to time. But he has openly on Drink Champs professed to be an Israelite and say that we are Israelites. No shame. Just like Eddie Griffin did the same thing, right? And several other celebrities are all coming out because they know the truth. But what happens is over time, persecution comes behind that and they get quiet. And what I tell celebrities all the time, because I know several of them, I say it's not your fight to speak about this. Take your money and fund the other groups for doing that. Stay in your lane. I'm not telling you that you don't have the right to freedom to speak. I'm saying to you as a friend, I'm saying to you this as a publicist, as a PR personnel, be tactful in how you convey your personal dispositions that can conflict with cancel culture. Other people who have less to lose, that have the same values as you, whatever, let them fight that fight. They may get blackballed or whatever. You fund them. But you be mum because you're making yourself an open target. And if you get taken out, that voice that we have, that platform we have, that you are funding so that others can have it, will be shut down. And now what? You don't have to fight it. There's enough of us out here that will fight it for you. You don't have to fight it. A lot of these celebrities are just like some of these brothers and sisters coming into church. They get all zealous and all excited, blah, 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 and they make themselves a target. They do. I speak openly and freely about what I do because any source of revenue that I get cannot be affected because of what I say on this channel. It just can't. It cannot be affected by what I say on this channel. I am a private contractor in the realm of IT. I also receive support from generous donations on this channel, right? On top of that, I get monetization from this channel. And not just that, I have other little side things that I do. Software development that I work on, scripting, automation tasks that I've set up through PowerShell, etc., that I go and sell to third parties. I'm invested in technology. I get things for a discount and I sell them for retail value on various forums. There's several ways that I make money. Several ways. Somebody can't watch my channel and say, we're going to fire you. It's not going to happen. So if I can take the liberty that I have and use some of that as leverage to protect somebody else, then that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm doing. So in his case, he came out, he said it. He's going to face a lot of backlash. Right now, he's facing backlash because he mentioned other artists, other rappers, etc., like Jay-Z, Just Blaze. He mentioned DaBaby, Drake, and all of that. They're going to hone in on that because these are names that are known in the public eye, whatever. But him saying that we're from the tribes of Judah, he meant to say tribes of Israel, saying that we're from the same blood of Christ, the same blood of Moses, that we are the people. That's what he said. And that these 400 years has to do with because we broke a covenant and because we did something. He's speaking all of this Israelite lingo. It's going to be picked up from various groups. And then just like Nick Cannon got shut down, they're going to shut. And again, what they do is they try to diagnose you with mental disorders. So people will ignore the things you say or say, yo, this nigga just crazy. He's just crazy. He's just crazy. He's crazy. So those celebrities, and if y'all listen to me out here, if anybody ever shared this video, if y'all know celebrities, share this video with them. Let them know that you do not have to shoot off your gun. Matter of fact, check it out. Ice Cube recently had a movie with Jack Black, if I'm not mistaken. Was it Jack Black? I think it was Jack Black. Ice Cube also came out and said that we are the children of Israel. He put memes up and stuff up. He was doing this for some time. He also came out now and he says, I refuse to do a movie where I'm going to get paid $7 to $9 million because I do not want to be vaccinated. I haven't heard any other actor or actress come out and say, I'm turning down $9 million because I don't want to get vaccinated. This man made a stand and turned down $9 million. Now they putting him in a spotlight. They're taking shots at him and all of that. Right? So all he has to do is say, look, if that's what they do, I have my own movie studio. I'm going to do my own movies, and I'm going to get that same millions that I missed from this movie on my own grounds. That's where autonomy comes in. Because if the black community was autonomous and we see one of us out there getting blackballed like that, we say, yo, we got you. Don't even worry about that. You straight. Come over here. You straight. It's like your brothers and sisters that's pushing for these celebrities to come out and speak that they're children of Israel. If they lose their job, are you going to support them? Some of them are making millions and hundreds of millions of dollars. You going to support them? Huh? You out here telling people who are in a position of power to talk and act reckless because you have less to lose than they do. And they go listen to you. Like when people tell me to sell my house so I could be out in the street with my family. That's what they're telling me. That's what people are telling me, right? When you want me, other celebrities, YouTube personalities to risk everything. The fact that they have a platform, they reached you, now they won't be able to reach you no more. You want them to go out there and risk everything for a cause that you can simply say, hey, look, fund me and I'll take care of it. And if you want to speak boldly, let people know you're funding me, but never come out and say yay or nay either way. Be silent on it. You have the right to be silent and say, look, I'm not going to speak on that. I know somebody personally who has that foundation or that non-for-profit, and that's why I'm supporting them. Why do you have to connect to some kind of conspiracy theory, some kind of agenda? Why I got to be that? Why can't it just be somebody that I know personally? I'm not going to distance myself from it because I know them. And I'm not going to speak on this matter either way. All I'm saying is the truth is right in front of you, and it's up to you to discover yes or no. Celebrities can be very mum on how they do this. So if y'all want to see the video that I'm talking about with Kanye West, I'm going to give it to you here at time marker 1 hour, 16 minutes, and 30 seconds. Is where Kanye comes out and says that we're from the 12 tribes of Israel. Here it is right here. And you know why they can't cancel Kanye? And again, I respect Kanye, right? I look forward to meeting him one day. I'm making the moves necessary to set something up to have a conversation with him soon, right? We'll see how that goes, right? But nonetheless, I respect him because of all the stuff that he has said. And mind you, he is a genius. He's very brilliant in regards to music. I've been a fan of his since 2004. 2004, I've been a fan of Kanye. That's a long time, right? A long time that I've listened to. I got almost every album that he's released. I think he's a musical genius. He produces his own tracks. He raps. He creates his own choruses. You know what I'm saying? He creates hooks for other people. He ghostwrites for other people. He is a talented artist. People who are creative. And I was speaking to an individual about this as well. When you are creative, you can't turn that off. When you're an artist, you can't turn that off. If your inspiration for your creativity is coming from negative sources, right? It's going to show, right? If it's coming from positive sources, it will show. Because as an artist, you have this inward desire to express what you have inside. And the mind goes through various phases of creativity. It cannot be turned off. So if you're bored, creativity can either cause you to come out of that boredom and do something, or cause you to take that boredom and do something constructively negative. If you are an artistic person, if you are a creative genius, you must feed yourself with positive influences so that you continue to maintain that genius in a positive light. Because the moment you get bored, the moment you get upset, the moment you get deterred, the moment you get depressed, you're going to start doing some creative stuff. Ideation first takes place in the mind before it's reflected and manifested in reality. And you're going to start doing some creatively destructive stuff in your life, like being petty with people, making yourself more depressed, blaming yourself for the actions of others, right? Finding creative ways of beating yourself up because you're going through hard times. This is important, right? Nonetheless, the point I'm trying to make is he has been very open about his perspective and his views, right? Supporting Donald Trump and all that other stuff. And he has taken heat from that, from everybody. But one thing that I can say about Kanye West is this. Kanye West will always be a billionaire. Because, you know, he has $6.6 billion in assets. He will always be a billionaire. And the only way that can be taken from him is he causes a crime. If he commits a crime. As long as he doesn't commit a crime, nobody can take that money from him. Did you know that how he got a boost in revenue? His clothing line. He was selling ragged up clothes for the same price designers' clothing was costing. He sold his for the same amount. And then he came out defending and said, yo, how come people are mad because I'm black and I'm selling my stuff for the same amount that a white designer selling theirs for? What's wrong with that? They call him crazy for doing that. I tell people all the time, black businesses, yes, you're a black business. You have the potential to have my patronage, right, as a black business. However, just because you're a black business does not mean I'm obligated to support you, especially if your customer service sucks, especially if your product sucks or cannot compete, right? I have the obligation to say yes or no. I will support or not support. And the reason why is because I don't want to coddle somebody that's producing a bad product or giving out bad customer service. I'd rather give them suggestions on how to improve their business model before I patronize them. Or if they do have a solid product, good communication, then I will patronize you. Why? Because I want our people to not provide substandard products, goods, and services and force or guilt people into supporting you because they black. No. We have the intellectual property, creativity, and innovation to create things in ways with limited to no resources or manpower, something that excels beyond anything that's out there because we are inherently genius. The services we offer at Kingdom Harbinger Ministries competes and does better than everything else that's out there. And we're in the process of creating more. So I'm not just giving substandard stuff just to say, I'm a black business, I have this. No. I'm talking about being able to compete at a level that's greater than Goodwill, the Salvation Army, all these other non-for-profits that are charitable organizations. What we offer will exceed what they have, especially for our particular demographic. I'm not just playing catch up. I'm not just trying to run behind them or just do something. No. The objective is to be excellent with it. You know why? Because I have Yah's stamp of approval on it. So if his name is on a line, this product is representing his name. This service is representing his name. This good is representing his name. And if I'm going to show that his authority is the one that others should bow down before, then whatever I produce must be representative of that. The things that I say must be representative of that. The way I live as best as I can must be a representative of that. And I'm not saying we're going to do anything perfect. There can't be no design for being perfect. Nobody's perfect. However, it is your effort and your will to perfection. That is what you should be judged on. So with this being said, let me read this article and I'm going to transition away from this, right? Again, this may not be popular. And like I said, after this video is over, feel free to copy this video because I have an idea. They're going to demonetize and or strike and flag this video. Okay? Even though I didn't say nothing bad, doesn't matter. Everything's about perception. Check it out. Let me read this article for you. But I just want to get that tidbit out there in regards to Kanye West, right? You can go back and watch the whole Drink Champs. And parents, if you have children and you're watching this, there is some cursing in it. There is some explicit language. So you may not want to watch this with your children, even though Kanye said he's a Christian. You know, I guess, you know, he's the Christian that curses or whatever. And again, if you curse, that's your business. Whatever you want to define as explicit language, that's up to you. All I'm saying is, if you have children and you know that they're sensitive to those things, please be mindful of that if you're going to go watch it, right? Here's the link for that. Go back and check it out yourself. The bottom line is that celebrities are waking up to this information, but here is the issue that I have, and I'm going to move on. The source of their awakening, right, is going to cause them to put themselves out there with a whole target on their back, right? When they need to know how to move like Nehemiah, they need to know how to move like Esther. They need to know how to move like Mordecai. They need to know how to move like Yosef. They need to know how to move like Daniel. Y'all want them to be the front street soldiers out there putting in work. No. I see a celebrity, I say, yo, you got the spirit of Nehemiah. I said, what you mean by that? It's like, yo, you like the cupbearer. Like he was like the cupbearer. Like you close to these people in these areas. You know that we can use those resources and that level of access to help these issues. Yo, you got the spirit of Esther on you. I mean, you're an accomplished Black woman, A, B, and C, this is that, and you have connections. And, you know, our community can definitely use you being there. Don't come away from that. Stay there. If you have to get your hands dirty from time to time, do it, but do it without the public knowing. Just go get it done. Y'all want to take them away from these high positions and make them into street soldiers. Y'all crazy. That's bugged out. Why would you do that? If Esther decided and Mordecai that there was going to be some regular common people, the Jews would be dead. They used their place of influence and affluence to ensure that their people had a heads up and an intervener so that they wouldn't be killed off. You're judging people because of the jobs and positions they're in instead of using that as leverage. This is why I say we must learn diplomacy and tact. And we're failing to lose this. All right. Okay. All right. Let me go into this real quick. Okay. Let me go into this real quick. I know you probably wasn't expecting this on tonight. You know what? It's not what you wanted, but it's definitely what you need. And I say a lot of stuff that I think that we need to hear. Okay. So let's read this guidance that they're being given. And remember, I shared several links. I'm going to read this one, right? Check this out. And this is public. This is not like this was just an email sent to, your HR department. You can read this, right? Many employers require employees to receive vaccinations to reduce the spread of communicable diseases in the workplace. Employer-required flu vaccinations have been a common practice for years, and a COVID-19 vaccine is following suit. Employers who require employees to receive the vaccine should know that federal law allows employees to ask to be exempted from the requirement due to medical or religious reasons. Remember, it's a law. Don't make them feel like you're inconveniencing your job by requesting religious exemption. It is law. Just like they're following a federal executive order, which has the force of law. The legislation, they're the ones responsible for action. But you know what? Let's let me move aside from that. Maybe some of y'all not jurisprudent don't understand about that, but we talk about that another time. But religious exemption, you have that right by law. They're not giving you that right. You're able to maintain that right by law. Key thing, you have the legal obligation to request this. Now, whether they accept it or not, something different, right? Title I of the Americans with Disabilities Act requires employers to provide reasonable accommodation to qualify applicants and employees with a disability. You know what's a disability? An autoimmune disease like lupus. You can say because of this autoimmune disease, lupus, and the stats that come from CDC and their recommendations and FDA, etc., I cannot get the vaccine. Or if I do, it may cause complications. And you can cite Title I of the Americans with Disabilities Act. Requires employers to provide reasonable accommodation to qualify applicants and employees with a disability unless the employer can demonstrate that doing so creates an undue hardship to the employer or poses a direct threat to the safety of the employee or others in the workplace. I had one person, right, that we could not help yet. Their request for religious exemption was denied. See, I'm not out here like these other people touting that they have 100%, accuracy rate in religious exemptions, because it's not ever going to be 100%. I don't tell people that. I give you the real. Yes, we helped. We did maybe about 60 something, almost 70 letters. Yes, we got about 16 responses back that has been successful. Yes, there's some that were waiting in limbo, but we also had one where it was denied. Here's why it was denied. They said, we do subscribe to the fact that your religious belief is authentic. However, the accommodations that we considered, like giving you in order to acknowledge this authentic religious practice, belief, or right, will cause an undue hardship to this business. But they never tell you what it is. That's by design. So you send a follow-up letter and say, okay, I understand that you made the decision, but I am requesting further information on what these considerations that you were making for accommodations for me and how they pose an undue hardship to my place of employment, me or other employees. Can you please provide that information? Because if it's vague, I don't know. So I'm asking, again, if you send a letter to HR, they have to respond to it, right? A lot of times they're hoping you just shut up after we deny it. Don't say nothing. But I helped this individual and I said, no, you do a follow-up. And he also has a union. I said, yo, go through your union. You may not have a good union rep. Find another one that's very vocal about this. Get a union rep to defend you. And that's the problem. A lot of at-will states, you don't have a lot of unions protecting you out there, especially out here in Atlanta. I worked in the IT industry for years. I've never once had a union fight for me because there was no unions for me to join. But nonetheless, the next thing says employers also have an obligation, check it out, to accommodate an employee's sincerely held religious beliefs. Under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, unless the accommodation creates an undue hardship. And that must be defined. What is the undue hardship? If I'm saying I'm going to mask, I'm going to social distance, and or you can request, if your job has it, the option to work from home. A sincerely held religious belief can include an employee's religious-based objection to vaccinations. This guide takes you through the steps to handle a current employee's accommodation request to be exempt from the employee's vaccination requirements. All right. Now, what is this site? This is SHRM, and it's Better Workplaces, Better World. It is an organization designed to give guidance to employers in regards to things such as this, right? Let's keep going. Step 1, determine whether the employer is covered by the ADA in Title VII. All employers, including state and local government employees with 15 or more employees, are covered by the ADA in Title VII. Federal government employees are also covered by Title VII. However, for federal accommodation, federal government employers must comply with the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 instead of ADA, although their protections are very similar. Make sure that you have the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 if you're a federal employee and not cite the ADA. This is important because people think that you can just grab some random thing offline and just use it. That's being irresponsible because it's not personalized, right? It's not authentic. It's somebody else's statement of their religious belief, and it's not yours. And some of your Israelites who bang on Christians are copy and pasting religious exemption forms where it says that you're a Christian in there. What? How does that work? They can easily go to your social media and say you ain't no Christian. You have to be fair to your employer as well. See, I teach fairness and objectivity. All right. Step 2, ensure that a policy and procedure exists for handling accommodation requests. Organizations should implement and review policies and procedures for handling requests for medical and religious accommodations. Remember I told you about your employee handbook where all the policies are there? This is one of the things that we request if we're going to help you with this. Some people say, well, I can't get access to it. Well, that's a problem because during your orientation, you should have filled out paperwork and you should be provided a physical and or digital employee handbook with the policies and procedures contained therein on what you are obliged to do, especially as it pertains to your particular job requirements and expectations. If you cannot get that, you must request it from HR and they have to provide it. Existing job descriptions should also be reviewed to confirm that they include what? All aspects of the job and include any requirements for mandatory vaccination. So if you're going through your employee handbook and it's not there, oh, shoot, y'all don't. So you're telling me this was just a notice, but you don't have it in the employee handbook as a policy? I'm requesting that you add it as policy if it's going to be mandated. Can you do that? You can request it. Step 3, review requests for exemption from the vaccine requirement. Employee requests for exemption from the vaccination requirement should be reviewed to determine if the request falls on the ADA or Title VII obligations for the employer to consider accommodations. A request for exemption due to a personal preference not to receive a vaccine is not protected by law. So don't go into your job. One day you an atheist. You do not want to get the vaccine based on your personal beliefs, and you reach out to a Christian organization and say, can you write me an exemption letter? But you've already openly displayed that you was an atheist at your job. You know why I know this? Because I had 3 atheists ask me for a letter, and I turned them down. I said, I cannot give you this letter in good faith because you don't subscribe to the stuff contained therein. I am not going to perpetuate a lie for you simply because you have an agenda against the vaccination, and I'm just trying to fight for people who legitimately have a claim against it. We're not going to help you. I'm sorry. And these were 3 people in the conscious community because their belief systems cannot be validated. And they come to me, yo, Divine, can you help me do this letter? I said, no, I cannot do that for you. In good conscience, in good faith, in order for me to uphold the values that I subscribe to based on my cultural disposition, I cannot write you a letter. I cannot help you with this matter. I'm sorry. Oh, you remember those times that you banged on Israelites? Yeah, you remember that. You remember that, right? You remember that. You still got a post up there from 2 weeks ago, and you coming to me to ask you to help you with a letter? I'm good. It's not going to happen, bro. Can't do that. Yo, when people are desperate, they're going to try anything. Just like I seen atheists on their deathbed pray to God. Say, what's going on here? Praying to God. What? Oh, shoot. Okay. Anyway, so let's keep going, right? Let's keep going. And it says, employees need not use any, check it out, y'all, particular verbiage when requesting accommodation. You understand that? You don't have to put anything specific. We do it in our letter when we help you with it, but you don't have to do that. Requests, it says, look, check it. Manager and supervisors should understand how to recognize a request for accommodation and who to relate the information to within the company. Requests for accommodation due to a disability or religious belief should be further reviewed following the steps below. Initiate the interactive process. Check it out, y'all. I'm giving you a game. Upon learning of the possible need for a reasonable accommodation, employers should engage in a process in which the employee, his or her healthcare provider or religious leader, and the employer share information about the nature of the disability or religious belief and the limitations on receiving an employer-required vaccination. This process is referred to as an interactive process and involves a good faith effort by the employer and the employee to discuss the employee's specific circumstance. So check it out. I've given letters out. In our letters, we have a letterhead there. Organization, contact information. If they go to you, those who have the letter, and say, you know, we're just going to deny you. We say, well, wait, hold on. Are you aware that in good faith effort has not been made because you have not consulted with my religious leader or a religious scholar who actually subscribes to the same faith that I do? You're not moving in good faith effort. Just like some military places have you go to their chaplain, and their chaplain is the one mediating for you when the chaplain's already being compromised and is pushing for vaccines, especially if your religious disposition is not in alignment with theirs or is in contradiction of theirs. You think they're going to defend you well when it comes to go back to the reporting officer, right? You think it's going to bode well for you? You can say, look, I don't want the chaplain to go on my behalf. I would prefer us have a religious leader or scholar in my community to work with the chaplain and or the commanding officer, the reporting officer, so that way things can be done in good faith effort. Again, I'm not telling you what to do if you're in the military. I'm not trying to get you to compromise your job. Even if you have to get the vaccination, that is your personal decision. I'm not telling you not to do it. All I'm saying is, if you're going to take a stand, understand everything that is at stake, all the things that you have at your disposal. Make sure you exhaust everything first before you get to that point where you either have to take it or you have to leave your job. Don't just give up. And people give up because they don't have enough knowledge to know what to do. And we're here to educate you on free game. I'm not charging $100 for a course on this. I'm telling you for free. Free game. The purpose of this discussion is to determine what, if any, accommodations may be needed. The interactive process, that's what you want. If they are reviewing it after you submitted it, if they deny you, say, wait. What about the interactive process? I have not been afforded. And you can say, I have not been able to cross-examine this denial. You deny me, but I didn't have the interactive process to ask you questions or convey from my mouth to you. Why has the interactive process, as a good faith effort to work together to understand the accommodation that I'm requesting, how come this is being denied? See, you put all that in writing and you give it to them. Keep a paper trail. Send an email to HR if you need to, a particular individual HR if you need to. Keep a paper trail, because if a civil suit is levied against that employer, right, they can go and say, okay, well, what we're going to do, get a subpoena, and we're going to get all of these digital records. Where's your paperwork? Where's your correspondence? Same thing with debt elimination. You need good correspondence. Anybody that's going to eliminate their debt, if you go right to the bottom where it says, okay, you have this issue and you disagree with it, we want you to click this right here so you can do what? What do they ask you to do? When you disagree with something that's on your credit report, they have you to do what? What did they say that you can do? Let me see if anybody has had this situation before. What did they tell you can do? Dispute. Disputing causes controversy. You never want to put yourself in a position where you're the initiator of controversy, especially if you don't have a paper trail to support your case. Why would you dispute something with no way to validate your case? Always have a paper trail. Legally, your job has to receive and respond to any paperwork, especially if it's been notarized and has been given to them. All our letters are notarized before they're submitted. Dispute, there you go. Dispute should be the last thing you do when it comes to negative information, to anything that you see that is hurting your credit report. Do not dispute unless you have a paper trail of evidence, because you create the controversy and you put yourself in a precarious situation that you can lose. And if you lose, guess what? You don't have the opportunity to dispute it again. You create correspondence through what's called conditional acceptance. If you want to know what that is, I did when I was at the I forgot which chapter launch it was. I think it was the DMV chapter launch, where I spoke on this. Matter of fact, the New York chapter launch, I spoke on this too. I give free game. I tell people how to do it. We get free consultation on this. But some people, they said, look, I'd rather you do it for us. And then we say, okay, we can do it for you at a fee. And we charge a fee. So it's the same thing. Your job, whatever paperwork you have, you give them, they have to respond to it. And if you say to them, how come you denied the interactive process? They got to tell you why they did that. And then if they, and then you cite sources like this. You got to cite something. You can't just say, why didn't you accept? You got to cite a source. Because it's not just this third-party source. There's also EEOC guidelines on how to address these things. You cite it. Because once it's in there, it becomes legitimate evidence. You can say, hey, look, the company that I work for, do research on your company, right? Your employer. They're a federal subcontractor. Federal law dictates A, B, and C because EEOC guidelines say A, B, this, and that. OSHA guidelines say A, B, and C. Well, my employer has not followed A, B, and C because I didn't get the interactive process. I didn't get a chance to have a discussion with them. Why did they deny that? Why are they being very vague in their language of saying, well, we can't accommodate you because it causes undue hardship? And you say, how? Where's the how in that? Detail it for me. Can you tell me? Be tactful, be mild-mannered when you do that. Because the moment that you get enraged, upset, angry, emotional, they'll use that against you, right? They can say you being insubordinate, right? There's a way you can do it without being so loud. See, I'm passionate on here, right? But day to day, I'm pretty mild-mannered, right? Anybody that's spoken to me on the phone in here, y'all know that. Anybody that's met me in person, you know that. When I do my presentations, my lectures, YouTube, I'm animated. You know what I'm saying? I'm passionate. Sometimes my tone will fluctuate, right? But when I handle business, all of that is put aside. I got to deal diplomatically, tactfully. I have to be attentive. Things are being said. I got to watch the tone and how to say it, how people's body language shifts or adjusts, or how their tone adjusts and adapts to the things that I say. Find out what are certain buzzwords that cause triggers in people. I examine that and calculate that on the fly. So when I talk to people, I know how to handle them because I know how to analyze people, right? So I can tell. So you have to be able to be extremely adept at doing this, but you can only do that if you're provided with the right information to know what to say and how to handle it. Okay? But if you want us to help you with the letter, if you want us to vouch for you, because it's not just the letter we giving to you, everything that we help you with in the letter, you assume all liability for everything in there because you're saying to your job, this is my personal belief. But we allow you to have our letterhead in the event that this interactive process comes up and they need to reach out to somebody so that they can validate and they can mediate and support your position and authenticate what you're saying. So we are here to cause that support. That's where the donation go towards. The time, effort, and energy that we take to help you with the letter and to be that point of contact in the event that you need it. So if you don't want us, that's fine. I'm giving you free game on what to do. Take it and run with it. People say, oh, these guys are doing everything for money. Well, you think a ministry is supported by water? You think a ministry is supported by thin air? It costs money to run a ministry. Some of y'all out there who are the detractors, the naysayers, you don't know how to run an organization. If I say to you, start your own organization and run it, see what's going on. Let me know how it runs. KHM is a six-figure organization. Six-figure organization. We're a six-figure organization. In 2014, when I first started this vision, we was a $0 organization. We didn't have no funds coming in. It took me 7 years to get to the point to create a six-figure organization from scratch. Nobody handed me anything. I didn't have no OG, no elder, no teacher say, here it is. This is how you do it, Divine. This is the blueprint. I'm going to give you some resources, some people to help you. I worked this from scratch. I'm not saying that there wasn't any good people around me. There was. But nobody handed this to me. I created this from scratch because Yah told me what I needed to do. So I made something out of it. And as a result, we're impacting lives, not just on YouTube. Outside of YouTube, we're touching lives. We're changing lives. We're making a difference. Because as a ministry, you are a servant. You're a servant. And the laborer is worthy of his reward. Do not muzzle the ox as he treads out the grain. These are principles. You ought to be supported by those who are benefiting from your servitude. They have the obligation to support. That's what Yeshua told the disciples in Matthew chapter 10. Go bring the gospel, and the ones who will hear it, let them take you in, feed you, shelter you, clothe you for that time period you're with them, and then leave and go elsewhere. That means as I'm giving you this gospel message, there's an obligation for the receiver to say, look, how can I accommodate you? Because the servant, if he's good, will turn somebody else into a servant of equal value as that servant who initiated the servitude process. We are supported by the people as far as a ministry. I do things outside the ministry to ensure I have other multiple streams of income, but the ministry itself is a six-figure organization that was made from scratch because it requires money to do it. You know why? Because when we do shows like this that helps people in real life, people appreciate that, they acknowledge that, and they support that. I was told by pastors, oh, you can't support a ministry without tithes and offering. You'll never get anywhere. The amount of money we take in as an organization makes more than all four of those pastors who told me that. I still follow their ministries. I follow them. Two of them are struggling right now, really bad. The other two, they lost half of their congregation after COVID. And you guess what? This virtual ministry that is also physical too, because we got chapters, is taking off. God didn't tell you to start no ministry without collecting tithes and offerings. And sometimes you got to make these sermons so that you can guilt people to give because people ain't going to give on their own. Sometimes they got to be guilted to give, or they got to be told they're full of sin to give. What? Pastors have told me this. And yet these same pastors are telling people coming to them, can I get a letter? No, just take the vaccination. These same pastors are telling people to take the vaccination. One of them hit me up, I think, because one of this, I think One of them I know watches me actively. The other three, they probably do, and they don't say much. The one that watches me actively, he said to me, you ain't going to get no religious exemption. Why are you resisting God's will? It's God's will that we get vaccinated. I said, what? I said, maybe that's his will for you. That don't mean that's his will for everybody else. That's not going to work. Ain't nobody's going to get an exemption from. So this same pastor, the one that told me that I could not have a ministry, a successful ministry, and in mine is finances. For me, it's the amount of lives we change, but it's different. If I don't collect tithes and offering, this is what they told me. And here we are right now. All praise to the Most High. And big thanks to all of you who support this channel. We don't play games over here. This is serious Yah's work. For real, for real. And if anybody tells you God didn't tell you to do that, it's because he ain't talked to them about it. You asked him, did he talk to you about this? Is that why you telling me that? He said something to you? He did? Okay, if he said that to you, who's the other 2-3 witnesses? Where they at? Oh, you know, the scripture says that every word is established by the mouth of 2 or 3. Where's the other witness or two? Oh, it's just you. Okay. All right, guys. Oh, okay. No, I'm just saying. I'm just asking questions. Asking questions. I don't know. Who am I? I'm a simple man, you know. I'm not as studied as you. And like I said, some of these pastors, they got degrees and everything. One of them had a huge church. I think he had like 500 to almost 700 members of the church or whatever, and told me that his success is because his congregation, they know how to sow seed. I said, word. I said, man, are you an Acts chapter 4 church? He said, what you mean Acts chapter 4 church? I'm like, yo, are you giving that money so that nobody is taking the bus here? They got a car like you, that nobody's in the projects, but they got a house like you. Right? That's the Acts 4 church. You got that going on here? Or is all of these funding going to just a select few, you know, your ecclesiastical staff? Because I thought all things were supposed to be all in common between all the members, and those that have give so that those who don't have can have. I thought we was rocking with the Acts chapter. Oh, you're not an Acts chapter 4 church. Oh, okay, cool. All right. Cool. All right. No, I'm just asking. What do I know? I don't know nothing. I don't have a mega church like you. I don't have all these degrees like you. I'm a simple man, you know, but I find the right formula. You treat the people well, they'll take care of you. All right. Wide awake. Is that an authentic statement that you're making there? If so, email us at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com. Or click the link in the description and you can set up a consultation, a one-on-one consultation, and we can speak with you. All right. Okay. Just let me know. All right. Let me finish this. All right. Because we already 2.5 hours in. All right. All right. And, you know, and I want to give something scripturally because I realize that some people who watch the replay watch Freestyle Friday for their Sabbath message. Right. So I'm going to make sure I give something scripturally as well before we exit out. Okay. However, I believe that it is my obligation to also give people things that can help them in real life. This is why naturopathic eating exists. This is why Jubilee Manumission exists. This is why we have this religious exemption service that exists, because it helps people once they turn the YouTube off. Okay. The interactive process involves a review of the combination request from the employee. Neither ADA nor Title VII requires the request to be put in writing. However, having documentation of the request is good practice. Make sure you understand that and keep that in mind. Okay. For ADA combination, the employee must be asked. Let me skip past that. In the event the employee needs to consult with the employee's healthcare provider, let's get past that. For religious accommodations, the employee should be asked to provide an explanation of his or her sincerely held religious beliefs and, if necessary, appropriate documentation from his or her religious leader regarding the religious beliefs that conflicts with the employee's vaccination requirement. Now, I'm gonna do something else. Let me do something else real quick. Let me throw this out there for you as well. There you go. This is for y'all as well. Richard Long says, how do we contribute music? Send it to the email, kingdomharbinger@gmail.com. And all our contact information in the description below. You can also reach out to us on other social media outlets like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc. We're also on Clubhouse on @DivineProspect, right? All right. Okay. So, brother, what's the brother's name? Wide Awake? My brother, there's a lot of people in here that are more than happy to help you out. Okay. If there's other brothers in here that can definitely help to encourage his brother as well, please leave your email in the chat so that he can also reach out to you. All right. Because this is not a one person helping another person thing. This is a village community helping each other. All right. All right. So let me give this to you as well right here. Hold on. Where is it at? Here it is. This right here is what you need to cite in your letter in regards to what we're talking about officially. All right. Shalom, Sister Radiant One. What's going on, sis? Wide Awake. It's okay, my brother. We all have those moments. Like I tell you all the time, at least once or twice a month, I feel like throwing in the towel. But because I have good people around me and because the Most High, you know, he's there to encourage me and keep me in the game or find situation to get me back on track. I'm grateful for that, right? So you don't have to feel on an island to yourself, Wide Awake. Those of us in here, a lot of people I've seen here, I can vouch for. And even me, email me at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com. Me and my team will see it and we'll have somebody assist you and kind of keep you encouraged. But this is part of the process, my brother. It will fluctuate. Don't let nobody tell you once you get into the truth, it's all peaches and keen or, you know, flowers and bubbles or whatever. It's not like that, right? This thing is designed to test you so you can come out as pure gold, not destroy you. But you must welcome the challenges that come because it's part of the path. You think the challenges is an obstacle when it is part of the path. Keep that in mind. That's important, my brother. All right. So anybody in here, if you would like to help this brother out as well, please put your link, your email address in the chat so he can reach out to you. Or Wide Awake, put your email in the chat so we can send you words of encouragement and edification. All right. Because again, we're here to help. I'm not going to overlook somebody saying something like this in my chat. If you need help, we are here to help. And it's up to you if you want the help because it's being offered to accept it. Okay. All right. I'm almost done. Let me finish reading this off and I'm done. All right. Okay. Check it out. All right. Step 6, determine whether the employee has a sincerely held religious belief. Title 7 requires employers to accommodate only those religious beliefs that are sincerely held. And you see this in blue because when you click on it, it's a hyperlink that tells you somewhere else that takes you to the eeoc.gov website, which is the official site to know how it's defined. You see this? Hold on. Let me zoom in. Let me make sure y'all can see this. This is the website on how they define what is a sincerely held religious belief. Okay. Right here. See this? This is it. This is everything right here. Sincerely held, laid out for you in writing. Everybody needs to have this link and needs to read it. All right, because it can be used against you if you're unaware, or you can use it in your favor. All right, all free game. Thank you, my brother, True for Nothing, for joining the Patreon. I appreciate that. Thank you to everybody who donated as well in the super chat. I'm sorry if I didn't acknowledge it because I was trying to get into this, but I appreciate you for that. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. All right. The realness, no, there's none yet. However, we will have a chapter launch next year, an official chapter launch for our Atlanta chapter next year. So just stay tuned. I'll announce it on here. We'll have a fly and everything else will be on here as well. All right. Jordan's Cadet. I appreciate that, King. This is my brother right here. Jordan's Cadet, man. This brother, very wise for his age, man. Very wise, well-spoken, right? Has a good way, a good cadence about him, which he can convey his thoughts and ideas. So I truly appreciate this brother's support. So my brother being wise as well. Much love to you as well, King. I appreciate you as well. All right. All right. So let's get out of that. Again, they prey off your ignorance. The more knowledgeable you are, the less susceptible you are to them running game on you. Back in the day, when I was in the streets, right? I worked with a lot of females, right? Because some of these females, and again, this is just me opening up, right? Some of these females have worked for other dudes, right? Bagging up drugs for them and all of that, running errands as mule for them and all of that. And I say to them, I said, why are you doing this? What compels you to do this for this man? Like, what, do you love him or something? No, I don't love him, but I like nice things. I said, so why don't you find a way to support yourself? So that way you don't feel compelled to do this from some other person who can just discard you and move on to the next person. I said, this is what I'm going to have you do. I'm going to show you how to value yourself, right? The business that you're doing for him, you tax him and say, look, there's other groups out here that want me to work with them. I'm choosing to work with you. So if you want my services, this is the upfront cost it's going to be. You had me sit down here, bag all these drugs for you, have me sit down here, count all this money from you, right? So therefore, I know how much you're bringing in. I know how much product you're moving, right? In order for me to stay loyal, because now I need to get paid for my time, because if I get pinched by the cops, you want me to stay silent, right? That's the code that we living by, right? So I have this group over here. They're going to pay me X amount as an employee. See, this is not an employee-employee relationship, right? This is you taking advantage of me and me not getting anything out of it if you change your mind, don't want to work with me no more, or can potentially cause some harm to me. So therefore, we need to treat this as a business arrangement. I give them that mindset as a 19, 20-year-old. 19-year-old talking to these women because other dudes were treating them wrong. And I said to them, I said, you can also get weed as collateral. If you bagging up weed or anything else, tell them, hey, I need to hold this as collateral. And they went, what's collateral? Collateral is that if you don't keep your word on something, then this is mine. So I tell them, once you collect the collateral, give it to me. I'll flip the collateral. And what happens is the collateral is only there so that once they keep their word, you give it back to them, but they don't realize that you took what you was using as collateral and you flipped it. This is what the bank does. Hold on. So look, I was 19, 20 years old teaching them game, right? 19, 20 years old teaching them game. How to establish an employee-employer relationship and or a partnership. Partnership at 19 years old. 19, 20, telling these women that. So when I started doing my thing on the side, it was because I learned some things, because I soaked it up from OGs. Not dudes that's on a corner doing that stuff, but people who work businesses, who had corporate jobs. I wasn't hanging out all the time with my friends that was out there standing on the corner. I was hanging out with dudes in suits and ties, bankers, financial aides, corporate execs. I use my money so I can get access to them and have conversations with them, pay for the dinner with them, learn game at 19 years old, did it differently from everybody else. And I said, oh, okay. I work with union reps. I knew one of them, my friend's father was a union rep. I spent time with him, learned the game. Oh, okay, that's a negotiation. That's how it works. That's how I was able to save a lot of people from getting killed. My negotiation skills was off the charts because I soaked up game from OGs. Not that was in the same sphere's mind. I was transdisciplinary in regards to my endeavors in the street. If I stayed in the street, I think I really would have had a real empire. But an OG told me that I was in the clique that was in, yo, you got too much potential to be around us. That's what he told me. It's like, yo, you hating. What you talking about? You don't want me, you just don't want me to get money. Because I was getting a good amount of money. And guess what? I didn't ish where I ate. So my parents and my family, they didn't know nothing about what I was doing because I did it away from home. Right? But nonetheless, I think the Most High sent him to tell me that. Because I thought he was hating on me. But at some point it settled in and I said, you know what? Damn, he's right. Why am I throwing my life away if I have so much potential hanging around with these dudes? Not that these were bad people per se. I mean, obviously they're committing crimes and stuff like that. But the key thing is this. If I can think like this in an illegal matter, how much more so can I do it in a legal matter if given the opportunity? And I said the reason why a lot of us are in that type of situation illegally is because the Black community, we're not given these opportunities. We don't have angel investors flooding into our community. We don't have places that are looking or scouting for people straight from the hood. We got to prove ourselves first. We're not handed down nothing. So I learned this from people outside of my sphere. And when I came into my sphere, I got strategies and all. I said, damn, what are you learning about this? Dro, I'm like, yo, don't even ask me about that. I just told you my street name, my ex street name. I said, no, don't worry about that. The bottom line is it going to help or not? They said, yeah. So when I was working with these females, I was also working with other groups as well. Other people, because I was never in a gang. We just had a clique. I wasn't one to follow in a gang. That just wasn't me. I was going to start my own thing. And I even told other groups, look, instead of you just going shooting that dude, if he owed you money, you ain't going to get the money back by killing him. Negotiate. So I taught some brothers how to negotiate. Did you know that some of those brothers now that I taught how to negotiate, they have good careers right now because of their negotiating skills? A 19-year-old is teaching these 20-something-year-olds how to negotiate instead of taking a gun and shooting, killing somebody. Telling them how to negotiate, telling them how to establish an employee-employer relationship via contract. Hush money, that's a tax off the top. Because I need to put that in my commissary if I get knocked for keeping my mouth closed because you did something and I had nothing to do with it. So if I'm going to take that L, I need you to give me X amount of money over the time period in which you are collecting X amount of funds because so-and-so is your auditor. You got auditors. They got auditors. So-and-so, what's an auditor? And I break that down for them. You got an auditor that's looking over the amount of money that's coming through here so we know how much money you're making in here. So therefore, you must pay me to ensure that I have commissary because you can dip out. You can leave me stranded in jail. Didn't so-and-so do that to so-and-so and he part of our clique? So in order for me to establish that type of relationship, this is what needs to be done. Trust me, I knew how to work the thing. I knew how to work it. Right? But doing that in unrighteousness is not beneficial. Teaching people who already have a mindset to be unrighteous how to be more unrighteous is not healthy. Now, looking back now, I said, wow, you know what? Damn, I did have a lot of potential and I could have done a lot of stuff at that time if I stayed in that lifestyle, but I only had a short stint in it, maybe 4 years doing that. 4 years. And then I left it alone, cold turkey. The OG gave me the okay. I just left it alone, right? Once in a while, I may bump into those brothers, may say something, but keep it pushing. So when I talk to these young dudes in the street, I put them on the game. I said, Joe, if you have the mental fortitude to do this, this, and that, man, you could do this, this, and that. And you ain't got to watch your back. You ain't got to worry about getting pinched by the police. You don't worry about an op blasting your head off. And if you don't believe me that you have the capability of doing that, the next time you go on the street to do ABC, try this. And if it works, then come back and holler at me. I can provide you with an opportunity to take those skills, create a good resume, and create your own business. That's what you should be doing, having your own business. If you can move this type of product, the way you moving it, man, with a legit businessman, you'll be a billionaire before you know it, legally. And nobody can do nothing about that. Wide awake, email me, my brother, kingdomharbinger@gmail.com, or click the link down below if you want to set up a consultation and me and you can have a one-on-one. Of course, I will pray with you. We all will pray with you, my brother, that your strength is maintained. Okay? Because there's a lot of pressure, especially when you have a family and you are a black man. Trust me, I know. I know. I don't depend on nobody else in my household to take care of my household but me. If all else fails, me. However, if something was to happen to me, then they should know how to survive in my absence, right? But while I'm here, I must set the best example to keep and stabilize my home and maintain it. And black men out there, I hear you. It's a lot. It's tough. You know, you're going to go through all of this stuff. But I told you, it's by design. And it's the Most High's purpose that he has for you. If you don't believe me, let me read something that they use in church all the time, but take it out of context because it's referring to Israel. Let me bring up the scripture for you real quick. Since you need encouragement, brother, I'm going to give you the scripture real quick. All right? Because I know what it's like, my brother. I know, trust me, I know what it's like. Here it is. Ministry is two-way. Not just me dictating stuff and talking, but me hearing what's going on and responding to it. Yirmiyahu, or Jeremiah chapter 29 says, for thus says Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh, when 70 years are completed for Babylon, I will visit you, and I will fulfill to you my promise and bring you back to this place. Verse 11, this is what is killed in the church, but they take it out of context. For I know the plans I have for you, declares Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh, plans for welfare, for peace, and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. Then you will call upon me and come and pray to me, and I will hear you. You will seek me and find me. When you seek me with all your heart, I will be found by you, declares Yosai, and I will restore your fortunes and gather you from all the nations and all the places where I've driven you, declares Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh, and I will bring you back to the place from which I sent you in exile. Even in your circumstances, my brother, the Most High says that the plans that he has for you is plans of peace and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. Now, what does that look like and what is that? It's different from person to person. But what I will tell you as a starting line or a basis is for you to go back into this Torah and understand these statutes, laws, and commandments and the parts of it that talks about life. The Most High always says that he's here to prosper you, to give you length of life and protection if you abide by the terms and conditions of the covenant. So whatever it is, my brother, that is have you in turmoil, that has you depressed, that has your mind out of scope, out of focus, that has you overwhelmed, especially if the weight of your family is on your shoulders, I'm here to tell you, my brother, that you can have Joshua and Aaron and Joshua side by side by you, Moses, to hold your arms up so that you do not get tired until your assignment is complete. This might be the season that you have to go through this time of hurt, but the time of healing is on the horizon, my brother, and you're driving right towards it. The sun will have to rise on this cloudiness or this nighttime or this place of darkness that you're in right now. Seek the Most High and you will find him. When you seek him with all your heart, how do you do that? You empty yourself and fill him into you. How? By this word. And when that happens, an overflow will spill out into your home and into those around you and into your situations, and he will give you peace. Peace starts first with acceptance. Acceptance don't mean that you are happy with everything that's going on, right? But that you are allowing the process to take place because it is designed to build you up. But first, sometimes things have to be broken down to be built back up properly. If somebody has a torn ligament, if somebody has a fracture, right, and they've been living with it for a long time, right, it's not healing right because the root cause has not been addressed. And it may take somebody to come along and have to break and set it properly for you to heal. Now, that pain is going to hurt. And I'm not going to say there's not going to be no pain, but it's only for a moment. And never let that moment ruin your momentum. The fact that you are here, which means that you have an ear to hear. Fine tune that. Past the white noise and to what the Spirit is saying to you, my brother. This is what the Most High has for you. Stay encouraged. And if you need more than that, my brother, feel free to email me or click the link in the description below so we can chat. And I can do what I can to help you and surround you with other brothers that can keep your arms up, Moses. You know why? Because you're the one leading your family, at the very least, through the wilderness and into the promised land. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Okay. All right. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to close out because it's getting late. I'm sorry, y'all. Listen, I'm going to try to go live again on Sunday. I'm going to do my best. Like, my schedule is swamped because, you know, I do real ministry outside of this. It's not like I just get on YouTube, I do a video and I can leave and just, no. My ministry starts when this YouTube goes off. Once YouTube goes off, ministry starts, right? But I'm setting things up because we're putting various people in place to help and assist so I won't get overburdened, because the assignment that Yah has given me cannot be done by me alone. It requires a village community, right? It requires a system in which we have an egalitarian society. Everyone is given the right amount of equity to perform the tasks and assignments that they are assigned to do or skilled to do, right? So when we close the YouTube screen, ministry is there. So I'm putting people in place so they can help run the ministry autonomously. So all I got to do is oversee it or intervene from time to time, and I can get back to focusing on content creation, on my lectures, which I want to restore this fall before the fall's over. Get back to doing a lecture, content creation. There's several content that I promised to y'all that I didn't give you a date on, but I want to give it to you, and the classes. These are the things that I want to shift focus on. So if anybody here is interested in joining KHM for real, so we can take this outside of scope, and if anybody's been helped or served by KHM, your obligation is to pay it forward. But to show where your heart is at, you pay it back. Let me say it again. The only obligation you have when somebody serves you for ministry is to pay it forward. But if your heart is in the right place, you will also pay it back. There's so many people that eat and benefit off this ministry that never come back and say, hey, how can I help? They never come back and say, hey, I want to donate. When they just put on their YouTube, I'm assuming their Facebook or social media, I just got to raise. You know why? Because we gave them some information on how to navigate through their job, and they over here acting like nobody helped them. They did all it by themselves, but the whole ministry was behind you, supporting you. And y'all just left. Just like when Yeshua healed those lepers, one of them came back. The people who come back are the people I'm going to ride for. The other people who I help who don't come back, that's part of the game, right? That's part of the job, right? I don't expect people to come back, but when they do, I said, you know what? That's a real one right there. I'm going to hold on to this person. All praise to the Most High. Do not take advantage of people who have done something from you at their own expense. Do not take advantage of those people, because you're not going to meet a lot of them in life. There's a lot of authentic people out here that get hurt by people who gloss over and ignore the fact that if it wasn't for them, they wouldn't get where they go. Just because Yah is the master orchestrator does not mean you neglect the vessel he used to provide you with what you have. Because that's an excuse that people make. Oh, well, it was God who did it. Yeah, but the person had to be willing for God to use in order for it to get done. What are you talking about? See, that's how church run game on people. Not all churches. That's how some church runs game on people. I'm not going to let it happen to me. I'm not going to let it happen to you. So all praise to the Most High, because every letter we sent was a prayer of appeal that went up to Yah and say, Yah, this person needs this job, but you may not feel that they need it. So whatever it is, Yah, if you feel that this is where they need to be, this letter will be successful. If it's not, then they can see that at some point, if it wasn't for coronavirus, the job would have drew the line in the sand and they would have had another excuse to let that person go anyway. But at the end of the day, Yah, I ask that before you receive this letter, that person will give it in a righteous mindset, that person will be willing to get their home in order, because this is attached with prayer. This is stamped and sealed with our ministry name on it that represents you. So Yah, do your thing. Bring those where this is successful with to you, because I've yielded myself as a servant, Yah. I've emptied myself to fill myself with you so I can serve. Allow this success or victory to give you glory. So I'm letting my light shine so much so before men that these works will draw them to you, Yah. Because at the end of the day, the only reason why this letter is successful is because of you. And I'm working in conjunction with your will. That the reason that I have this platform is to help people in real life offline. So Yah, let your will be done. So all y'all who get in this letter, I want you to make sure there's a prayer attached to that. Make sure you got your house in order. Make sure you have your house in order. We don't play with that over here. We put a prayer on all of this. It's serious. We're not just copy and pasting something. There's a prayer on here. There's validation on here. There's authentication on here. And our name is on the line as an organization. I'm on the line vouching for you. Do not take this lightly. And I'm not telling you what to do. But what I'm saying is if your heart is in a good place, you'll come back and say, how can I serve you? How can I serve this ministry? How can I get to know Yah more? The fact that your prayer was the reason why this was successful. I'm going to say, I'm going to teach you how to do it, because you can't live off the strength of somebody else's prayer for the rest of your life. You cannot live off of somebody else's intellect for the rest of your life. They must be open to Divi and share it with you. And this is why I'm giving y'all free game. Every video that we've done on here is free game. Every video. And every video before it opens up is laced with prayer. All right. I'm trying to tell you it's different over here. It's different over here. It's different. Thank you to JS for the donation. I appreciate that. Kenny for the donation. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Are there any credible books on Roman soldiers being from other cultures? When you Roman soldiers, yeah. So all the soldiers that Rome had as an empire were not all indigenously Roman, right? Or Italian. We want to say Italian or from that peninsula. Some of them were conscripted elsewhere, but certain companies were only Roman citizens. So if you want a book on that, email me, kingdomharbinger@gmail.com, and I'll get it over to you. All right. Also, anybody else that's watching this, because we also have some people that did not respond back to the initial email we sent after we received the donation for the letter. Please check your email. If you sent the donation to us for a religious exemption letter, please check your email, your spam, your whatever, because we are not going to hold on to that if we don't hear from you after 7 or 14 days. If we don't hear from you in 14 days, we're going to give you at least 14 days, and we're going to send reminders. If we don't hear from you, then we're going to give you back the donation. Why would we keep it? If we have not rendered the service, we're not dishonest over here. So I need you to please, if you asked us for requests, you have not, if you feel you never heard back from us, go back and check your email. We have responded to every inquiry, everyone, and we will continue to do that. All right. All right. So with that being said, my beautiful family, make sure your heart is in the right place. A good person will pay it forward. A wise person will pay it forward and pay it back. Right? Because you don't know that the person I just helped you, maybe they need encouragement. Maybe they need support. Maybe they need prayer. Maybe they need their arms lifted up. Maybe they need somebody to intervene on their behalf. Maybe you have the skill set to get them out of a dark place that they're not even showing to you. You seeing a smile, but you don't know what that smile is hiding. Don't just zap and absorb energy. See, that's what we do as consumers. We take. Producers give, they give, and they give. This society teaches us and our children to be nothing but useless, brainless consumers. And we are teaching you how to be producers. Jeremiah chapter 29, verses 4-7. The Israelites were told to build houses and live with them, plant vineyards and eat from them, become autonomous. Be a producer and not always a consumer. It's okay to be a consumer if you're producing more than what you're consuming. If you're consuming more than what you're producing, something's wrong. And that's one of the first things we teach and our financial or fiscal responsibility classes when we help people with their debt. Your income to outcome ratio is off. And with the income you're bringing in, you should be able to flip that to support the things that you want and only use your income to support the things you need. So then you can take a portion of that and you can save it or invest it. Okay. All right. Thank you for the donation, family. Ernest Higgs, thank you so much, my brother. Ink Pen, thank you so much. We are here to serve. And if you don't believe us, then ask anybody in this chat that has ever met with us, dealt with us, met me in person, talked to me on the phone. There's been times that I've been on the phone 2.5 hours with somebody because they was really going through it. My line is opened up for anybody. Did you know that my time comes with a cost? It does. It comes at a cost because there's other things I could be doing, get involved in. But I continue to keep my line open for anybody to contact me, set up a one-on-one, and have a conversation with me. Ask anybody in here that supports this ministry. That's how we get down. Shout out to all of our KHM members. Thank you so much for your support. My Patreon peoples, my Ride or Die Patreons, thank you for your support. I appreciate that. Everybody that sent the super chat, thank you so much. Everybody that's prayed for this ministry, I appreciate you. Everybody that even hit a thumbs up. Maybe you're not even in the chat. You just hit thumbs up. Thank you so much because we need this information to go out to the masses. I have no fear over here. I have been through so much. Through people trying to destroy me, drag my name through the mud, set me up in the truth, set me up, drag my name in the mud, talk bad about me, look at my failures or my mistakes and highlight it and put it out in public view, try to air out my dirty laundry and so forth. It's okay. Keep doing what you're doing. Because at the end of the day, my life is a testimony of what y'all can do with somebody who's a filthy rag. I'm still standing. I've been through so much just in the truth. And I'm still standing. And I'm not nobody exceptional. I know some of y'all might think, oh, Devon's smart. He's intelligent. You know, and you know, a lot of people who are smart, when they see a young black man talk articulately, they say, oh, he's articulate. You know, he's different. He's one of the different ones. I said, no, I'm not. I represent a whole community of people that are just like me. The problem is you don't give those type of people an opportunity. The difference is I got my access and opportunity so that way we could be on the same stage. I'm the voice of them. And I have to be this way so I can represent them. I'm not going to come in here all sloppy, talking crazy. No, we can't be like that. So you saying that I'm articulate or dismissing me as articulate, I take that as offensive. I said, so is everybody else if you give them the right opportunity and train them the right tools and give them the right resources. They also can be great. But see, you're trying to co-opt me and separate me from the rest of my community. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Like I said, we became a 6-figure ministry via the people, not because of government loan. We didn't take on no government loan. We haven't even begun to get grants, right? We didn't have no angel investor as a ministry. 6 figures based on the support from the people. From scratch. I'm talking about me doing everything to the point where now there's people helping. I'm grateful for that. And I want to tell y'all as well, whatever assignment that Yah is giving you, he did not create you to be an island by yourself. You need to connect. Because at some point, like my brother Wide Awake, and we keeping you in prayer, my brother, you will get overwhelmed. If you walking this out for, if you're not walking this out for real, you'll compromise along the way and you'll be good. But if you 10 toes down in this, to the point where you're taking a stand with your employer and that can affect your livelihood, this is real. You need a whole community behind you. If something goes awry, who's going to support and help? One last thing. At our New York chapter, and I'm not going to say no names, we had a sister, and again, we didn't help her, but we had a sister that stood up, you know, and said, look, I don't want to get the vaccine because of my religious beliefs. And again, remember what we read? You don't have to put it in writing. It's best practice that you do, and I highly recommend that you do, but you could just voice it. She was a teacher, all right? Her job that she had, they denied her request. They let her go. They laid her off. And again, the sister, I don't know if she's in here watching, but if she ever wants to come and testify, you're more than happy to do it, sis, right? I'm not going to say her name. And she came to our chapter launch event in New York when we went to New York. And this is why I come out and meet the people. This is why I bring people together to network who's on the same page. And after I spoke with her, I said, you know what, sister? You know, I'm in Atlanta. You know, I'm in Atlanta, right? I said, yo, if you're looking for a teaching opportunity, when you get to Atlanta, just hit me up. She said, yeah. I said, you know what? Even before you get to Atlanta, call this, and this place. Because they are looking for teachers. And the fact that you already had your mind to relocate to Atlanta, this is the next page of the chapter of the book called Your Life. These things are always bound to change. That's why Ecclesiastes 3 is there, from a person who lived it and understood that there's a time and a season for everything. Sometimes there's a time to uproot, and sometimes there's a time to plant. Sometimes we are so attached to things that are familiar to us, we don't realize that that time period for uprooting and separating has been long gone. Most High told Jeremiah, stop praying for these people, man. Stop it. It's not that time right now, man. You're doing too much. Do you know what season you in? Sometimes y'all got to be tried with your feet to the fire to know if you all in this truth or you not. And some of y'all ain't. And I blame some of the people you have around you because they're not teaching you to have these skills so you can persevere and endure. The information we teach here, the deep information, is only as good as its practical application in your life. Because if it does not work repeatedly, you need to put it down. It's not for you. Okay. Look at this. Mother Query. Shout out to Mother Query. I love the elders that support this ministry because we got men and women elders in this ministry. Part of KHM. Right? That talk to me and call me son and tell me, Divine, I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your ministry. And even give me advice. Hey, maybe you should do this or try that. And you know what I do with my elders who my peers have casted out, ignored, turned their back on? I repurpose them. I said, man, you got time on your hands. You retired. The youth ain't listening to you. Come over here. Don't worry about them. I got stuff for you. You did what in your secular life? Oh, yeah, definitely can use that. Yo, come over here. I see purpose in everything. I see purpose in anybody, even if a person is wicked. Some people are just designed to be wicked. Mind, conscious, shit, and all of that. Even they have a purpose in my life. I don't ask y'all to chase them away. I say, y'all give me the strength on how to handle it. Because these are small battles. If you can't win these small battles, you asking for the end of time to come. Y'all focus so much on prophecy and eschatology, but y'all don't even know how to stand up to your employer tactfully. But you want the end to come with real war and bloodshed. Y'all ain't ready for that. You're not ready for that. And even me, myself, I still need some conditioning. So I'm not exempt. These battles are designed for what's really about to come. This is the sandbox. That's what we say in the IT realm. A sandbox is a place where you test the code and the API and all of that before it goes live. This is the sandbox. You can't survive the sandbox. What makes you think you want to survive when real life happens? Y'all think it's just this COVID thing is an issue, this BIE labeling of Israelite groups. You think that this is the worst of the worst? You ain't seen nothing yet. You ain't seen nothing yet. This is designed to sift y'all out because the people in power that have a nefarious agenda, they want to see who's going to be the troublemakers. They want to see who we can get to bend, who we can get to break, and who's going to stand. You understand what I'm saying? This is what this is about. It's the testing grounds, the proving grounds. And the only way you can survive is to empty yourself and allow Yah to fill you. Because when you stand, they're not looking at flesh and blood. They're looking at that spirit in you. They're going to say, you know what? I can't. Even though I want to violate them, it's something different. I know if I do it, something's going to happen to me. So let me stand back. The scripture says that if a man's ways pleases the Most High, even his enemies will be at peace with him. Now, peace don't mean that at some point they may not cause any trouble or sort of war. It means that at some point they're going to realize, damn, if I keep enduring this, it's not just them I'm fighting, it's something else. Somebody has to be in your presence and say, man, something else is going on with this person. When I talk, I'm around people, the way I handle people, treat people with respect, listen to people, give them advice, pour into them without asking for nothing. People identify that, say, man, something's different about your spirit. Are they recognizing you as a person or the spirit that is behind you? Which one? David saying in Psalm 51, take not your spirit away from me, Yah, because we are going to fall. The problem is not falling. The problem is, are you getting up, dusting yourself off, and moving into a different direction that won't cause you to fall the same way again? That's the teshuvah. Are we doing this? Are we putting this into practice for real life? Okay. All right, I'm done, family. I'm done. Let me step back. I'm done. I love y'all. Thank you for your support. I know this wasn't the live stream that you wanted, but I believe this is the one that you needed. And I pray that any information that's been shared across there, that it helps somebody. And if it's not for you, you are obligated to give it to somebody else who may be in need. Please share this video on all social media platforms. Please, if you can, download the video and keep it, because I don't know how long it'll be up, because it seems to be an issue when you educate people based on things that are legally out there from trusted authorities. That's all I use. But that's still a threat. Knowledge and autonomy is a threat, especially coming from a Black man. Even more so from a Black woman as well. Even more so from a Black family that's together. That's the biggest threat. Not a gun. They're not scared of your weapons, your fleshly weapons, but the weapons of your warfare that is not carnal. That is what they fear. And when they can look at those weapons of your warfare and they can attach it to this patron deity called Yod He Wav He, oh boy, they better tread lightly when they deal with you. You don't even got to tell them. You just live it. And it convicts them. Your life convicts them. Your words convicts them. Your body language, your present convicts them. In a good way. Right? In a good way. If you have a superpower nation and they're going to try and have some foreign relationships with some other country, you think if you kill their diplomat, they're going to say, okay, it's cool. Yeah, it's cool. You killed our diplomat. It's all good. He comes with the same authority and force as the nation that backs him. Y'all are kingdom diplomats. All of y'all. Wherever you stand is your domain for that time. They need to respect your space, because whatever they do to you, they got to face a whole kingdom. And the only way we can demonstrate that is through collectivism as a community. And KHM is one impotence to accomplish that. With that being said, thank you for your support, family. Again, if you want to support the ministry, all that information and details will scroll down below. If you need to talk about something or you need a consultation, please click the link in the description below to schedule an appointment for a one-on-one consultation, and or email us at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com. If you need a religious exemption letter, please click the link in the description below that says if you need a letter, click here so we can begin the process. If you want to sign up or join KHM, please email us at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com. If you want to support the ministry, the best way to do it is to sign up for our Patreon, because not only are you supporting us financially, but we're giving you something that's more than what you're giving back. We have tons of invaluable things on our Patreon that will change your life. And I think that as a Patreon in the Israelite community, we're one of the top Patreons in the Israelite community, because people respect value. And they value the Patreon, all the hard work that I've gone through reading these books and these articles, creating this content specifically for people who are serious about their study and growth. All right. We have our PayPal. We have our Cash App there as well. Right. But at the end of the day, if we have helped you with anything, right, please go and serve somebody else. And if your heart is in the right place, we have open arms to welcome you to our team so we can do this together as a community and more so as a family. And when they see unity like that, that's not divided on doctrinal nuances, but is brought together based on how we can benefit each other by working together, that is something to fear, because the fear that they have is not the fear of us. It's the fear of the work of Yah that he's doing through us. Hallelujah. Love you, family. Enjoy your Shabbat. Peace and Shalom.